Well, hello there, everybody. It's been a while since we last saw your wonderful faces. I hope that you are doing well. You doing all right there, Kari? Yeah, just all right. We're good. We're good. I hope you have all been well. It has been a few weeks, but we're back with Goldshine Investigations, your favorite 5e homebrew campaign, DM'd by the one and the only Anonymous. But if it's your first time tuning into the channel, here at Graham Crackers, we're all about making memories with friends, whether those are playing TTRPGs, MMORPGs, or just regular RPGs. We strive to have a good time and record it for future people to see, I guess. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers, and it's so lovely to have you here. Tonight I am playing Harris Nervals, your favorite tiefling Oath of Conquest paladin. That is, how you say, storming a castle. But I am joined by a fantastic cast, who need no introduction. But I'm gonna ask for it anyways.
Rude. All right. Hey guys, I'm Pharaoh. I will be playing Utaka, the Water Ganassi cleric rogue, with a couple gods, a couple bugs, and a big old thunderstorm. And off to you.
Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, it's me, Kari. I play Israel, the half-elf Fae-Pact warlock. And yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot more running. Lots of running in a blizzard. So looking forward to that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I have the pleasure of playing Ivran Blackmont, the brother to Gaheris and the protector Asimar, Oath of Devotion Paladin. And right now, currently, I think he's under the impression that the pen is lighter than the sword. Let's hope that proves true. Our wonderful, wonderful druid, Griaz, Derek, is not here today, but our thoughts and hearts are with him. But without further ado, I will pass it off to our wonderful GM.
That's me. Hi, I'm Matt, your DM. I will be playing everyone else. Without any further ado, are we ready after a bit of a break to dive back into the Goldshine investigations? When we last left off, the party successfully reached the Emelian trade city of Jor. After shaking up the political landscape of the Emelian Empire in the Village of Ground. However, they found the city of Jor under siege by the Bluefield Alliance, specifically the Bugbear General that they had met during the siege on Veilbright, who appears to be acting under direct orders from the Veilbright leader, the Bluefield Alliance leader, sorry, acting under direct orders from the leader of the Bluefield Alliance to invade and conquer, or if not possible to conquer, destroy the town of Jor to secure naval and coastal power for the Bluefield Alliance. However, the party has proposed a different solution. The city will be either blockaded or evacuated to minimize casualties and bloodshed so that the Emelian Empire and the Bluefield Alliance can work together against the larger threat that the leader of the Bluefield Alliance does seem to acknowledge as a high priority, as they believed that Children of Red Site cultists had infiltrated the city, escapees from Veilbright. The party split to go about different plans. Ivran and Israel heading into town to negotiate with the acting field general of the Emelian Empire for the defense of Jor, and getting them to agree, with a little bit of help from some underling charming, to sign a peace treaty to end the conflict without bloodshed. Meanwhile, Gaheris and Griaz made their way up into the mountains to get to the palace of the local nobility in hopes that they can personally oversee the negotiations, which would be desirable on all ends. While Utaka went to the outskirts of town, managing to locate the cultists who appear to be trying to escape along with a halfling circus. Utaka managed to prevent their escape and has knocked one out. One remains standing. However, the halfling ringmaster seems under the impression that Utaka is assaulting their staff without cause. Meanwhile, Gaheris and Griaz's infiltration of the castle has turned not necessarily violent, but certainly turned chaotic, as the bridge has been lowered. However, the guards are currently choking on swamp toxins, blinded by Cambion-induced darkness, and the thunderstorms and fumes have coalesced to worsen the oncoming blizzard that now prepares to bring its full force to bear on the coastal town. As Israel darts through the streets to find the source of all bad weather, it seems, these days, Utaka stares down the remaining circus members. Gaheris, with the Thieves Guild member, still grappled as Griaz has lowered the drawbridge for you, and Ivron signing a peace treaty as the storm begins to grow gradually worse. I think we will pick up with Gaheris. Gaheris. As the drawbridge is lowered, the thief kind of struggles a little bit, but does not attempt to escape your grasp, as you have made it pretty clear what fate awaits them should they respond with any further violence and antagonism. You can see Griaz appears to be on the defensive, throwing up a wind wall to keep projectiles, arrows, and crossbow bolts away from them while waiting for you to enter as the swamp fumes are dispersed into the air as the guards begin to collect themselves and catch their breath, although the ones on the walls are still trapped in your darkness, unable to see.
So, what we are thinking, hey, wonderful, why don't you tell me what you are doing here at this castle? And I'd like to take the dash action in because I'm forcing movement. I can only move them half my movement speed. So I'd like to move 30 feet into the castle or along the drawbridge.
Okay. With 30 feet of movement, you'll make it to the castle gates. And there's a bit of hesitation from the thief as they kind of struggle, but after a moment, you don't know who I am?
To be fair, I don't know who many people are.
There's a bit of hesitation. With the way you're grappling them, are their arms free, or are they, like, completely held down?
I think the way I phrased it is because I'm holding them with one arm, that it was, like, around their neck. So they have free use of their hands.
Okay.
But because we are so close to the ledge, it wouldn't help them to do much, because I can just...
Oh, no, yeah, I was just clarifying to determine what they were going to do next. The thief kind of wiggles a bit to get more of their arm free and pulls the mask from their face. You see, you still see the same head of whitish blonde hair that's tied back in a ponytail. However, you're now able to see their face, these bright blue eyes and this kind of tanned, weathered by the sun skin. They don't necessarily look familiar to you, at least at a glance, but they kind of look at you with this very, like, desperate and, like, earnest expression, and my business in the castle is that my family's in there. I live here.
Did we get told that they had a kid? Wasn't their kid a half?
We have like 3 girls that we were told that they had. I think.
Yeah,
there are multiple.
They have
girls.
they have 2 daughters.
Your family? Are they guards or are they royal family? You don't appear to be. No offense, men.
She kind of lowers her head, but before kind of steeling herself and looking you in the eyes, and my name is Gwenton Quinn. I'm the younger princess of the royal family. If you have business with my family, then take me, not them.
Well, the thing with that is, in order to spare everyone else in the city, I will need all of you as collateral until the evacuation. On top of that, being with me is probably the safest place, as the cult of Red Site are in your city and probably planning something terrible.
The what?
I look over to make sure Griaz is still doing okay.
Yeah, again, Griaz is basically on the defensive, although you have certainly convinced the guards that you are a hostile threat, so that may change shortly.
I mean, do they see that we have the princess?
Not yet.
Okay.
This has just been a brief dialogue
Okay.
between the pair of you, so.
There is an evil cult that break the rules of magic. They have been attacking indiscriminately between the Bluefield Alliance and the Emilian Empire, and they are in your city. On top of that, that is mostly why the Bluefield Alliance is here.
She kind of takes all of this in, like eyes going wide, and her expression is somewhere between disbelief, but also like a very deep, earnest concern if what you're saying is true. We will come back to you. Utaka. As the first of the Dark Elf dancers fall, the remaining one, she looks incredibly panicked. I will say, since we're kind of, again, a little bit of an unconventional situation here, they technically have initiative before you, so I will say the halfling, because the halfling goes before the dancers do, the halfling is going to, given that he's already kind of blown his ace in the hole, quote unquote, I'll just say they whack you with something. They pick up a nearby stone and try to just clob you with it. They're not particularly a warrior, not exactly armed. Yeah, that's a miss. The dark elf girl, seeing this the other one fall, vanishes again before reappearing crouched over the remaining dark elf's body, and she looks up at you, and you can see they have a face strained by the cold and by fear and by what injuries have already been inflicted on them, but she breathes a deep sigh, and please, we don't want to hurt anyone, we just want to leave.
Yeah? Then why are you fucking running? I can't let you go.
We've seen and heard what you do to people who were with the children.
Yeah, usually it's like fucking talk to them.
You see her brows furrow, and her stance kind of briefly relaxes, but seemingly more out of confusion than anything. And no, you kill them, cut out their tongues, melt their faces into ash.
Okay, that was just like a couple times, but I'm not the only one here. Haven't you met Ivron? You've seen Ivron?
Who?
You know, wings. No? Am I the only one you guys know?
You were the only one we were warned about.
Not even the one with horns? No one warned you about him, just me?
They said that he was probably the one in charge, but
I just see Utaka spinning and going, yes, just suck it, Garrus. Okay.
He kind of like shifts and like looks down at the halfling. You can fucking drop that.
why are you attacking my performers?
Do you remember the part where they attacked me first?
He kind of pauses for a second. You can see that there's like kind of a genuine moment of just like, huh, kind of consideration.
And speaking of that, you fucking too.
The halfling kind of considers for a long pause before. All right, I apologize for that, but what business do you have with my dancers?
First of all, don't think they're your dancers. They were quitting and running. Second of all, I gotta take you two in.
The dark elf kind of squints a bit. Take us in where?
Into town. Over that way. You want to run? And he'll like start stepping towards her, like another 5-10 feet.
Can't you at least let my
They're like around them.
Can't you at least let my sister go?
Why should I?
We haven't done anything. We just want to leave. We only helped Arpeggio because we were paid.
Yeah, and I'm only doing this because I'm paid. But like, you gotta know more than that. You gotta give me more than that.
What do you want? We have magic we can give you. We'll tell you anything we know. Just... I like my face. I don't want to lose it.
How nice of a face is it? Like, OSC.
She is fairly pretty.
Yeah, like I get. You know what? That's fair. Okay. He'll like raise his hand and kind of like focus for a moment, and then like scroll his fingers and snap a finger as he lowers it, and the thunderstorm will dissipate.
Okay.
But he will continue to step towards them.
She kind of picks up her sister's unconscious body and kind of hugs it to her and crouches into the snow. But while she does kind of flinch a bit away, she doesn't make any movement to actually fully escape. More like a sort of instinctual fear response of putting some distance.
Did she step up, like stand up all the way?
No, she's like she's sitting on the ground, hugging her sister's body. He's
gonna come over and slowly crouch down, like in a way that's not like I'm attacking you right now.
Yeah. The sort of like, yeah, I get you.
Yeah. And without really seeing if she'll consent to him doing it, he's just gonna like reach over and rest a hand on the unconscious one. And he will expend a cast of oh, I don't have a cure wounds prepared. Whatever. Healing word.
Okay.
First level. Enough to make them conscious.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to roll to see how much health they get, or?
Yeah, sure. That's gonna roll minimum for them. I'm so sorry. 5 hit points.
Okay. As you say your healing word, you can see the dark elf kind of close her eyes and hug her sister to her, almost as if it's you get the impression she's expecting that you're going to say some magic words and they're both just going to explode. But as her sister kind of stirs a little bit and their dark red eyes snap open and they start to kind of twitch, but her sister kind of hugs her to her chest and, shh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And the two of them kind of look to you. The one who just woke up squints a bit suspiciously, uh, and the one that you had been talking to seems kind of genuinely grateful as they give a deep sigh. And
If you two aren't the children of Red Side in town, I'm gonna need you to help me find the ones that are.
there's no one else. It is just us, at least as far as we know.
Yeah, but it's sounding like you don't know, much as I thought you did.
The one who had just woken up kind of looks between the two of you in confusion, but the dark elf looks down to her and she might let us go if we if we tell them what we know. Oh, sorry.
Look, I know I'm pretty, but you know.
It's hard to tell. It's been a long time since we've seen anyone who wasn't an elf.
Yeah, okay.
The one in the suit kind of gives a sigh and turns to look at you with the same kind of deadpan expression they had been maintaining. What do you want to know?
I ain't the only one who's gonna want to ask you questions. So you two walk with me back that way to a few of my friends, and I ain't gonna fucking fry you, and we'll just talk.
And
How
after?
about that? After? I don't know. I don't want to fuck. Do you think I like killing people? Look, only when they piss me off. But
that's what Mr. Caldwell said.
okay. Why would he say that?
He said that people who work for your organization, they're killers. They gun down anyone who gets in their way. Said that if we ever...
That runs directly contrary to the actions of my companions.
In fairness, you did melt our boss's face.
In fairness, he was kind of a douche.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
And breaking into that city was gonna kill a lot more fucking people. Just think of me as the lesser of two evils. Yeah?
They kind of look to each other, and finally the one on the ground. Doesn't sound like we have a lot of a choice.
I mean, you could try.
Where'd we go? Even if we got away from you, we'd be caught between the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency or the Children of Red Site higher-ups. Nowhere on the continent would be safe. And I'm sure one of you would get a hold of us before we made it to a ship.
Maybe.
We'll tell you anything we can. Just please don't kill us.
Yeah, I'm not feeling like killing you today. Come on, let's go. It'll kind of like help, like give one of them an arm or something if they want to stand.
Yeah, which the one you had been speaking to does accept. But as you're helping them up, the halfling just, whoa, 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 whoa! Am I not going to be compensated for you taking my performers?
You set me on fire, you fat fuck.
It's part of the act. No hard feelings, right?
I have only hard feelings. Those are the feelings that I have, particularly for being set on fire, aggressed by all fucking three of you. All I wanted to do was talk.
The halfling kind of raises a hand like they're going to continue speaking, but one of the dark elves pipes up. Boss, I would like to remind you that the last overly talkative person this agent encountered was taken in dead without a face. Food for thought, PT. The halfling kind of like seems to very reasonably consider that before. It's TP. Fine, fine. But I'm considering this your 2 weeks notice, and I'm deducting your pay. You weren't paying us at all.
Tell you what. You walk with me, you come and talk to my friends too. And I think we're hitting the road soon. Maybe we could have use of your caravan.
Are all the other GSA people freaks like you?
Something like that.
All right, perfect. Well, lead the way, Bluey.
That is not my fucking name.
Lead the way, Mr. Blue.
It's Utaka.
The halfling, seeming completely oblivious to your irritation, kind of grabs one of your hands and shakes them. TP Farm Pork.
Taka will like stare him dead in the eye for an uncomfortable length of time. Like ruffle his hair and like shake his hand off and brush his shoulder off. Ugh. And then turn and be like, all right, you three with me. Let's go.
Okay. We will come back to you as you start making your way back into town. That is that combat more or less resolved. Harris. As the guards still consider this a legitimate threat, the ones in your darkness is 30 feet sphere, right?
That's a great question. A great question that I will get that answer to you shortly. It is a 15-foot radius.
Okay, got it. So the guards, I believe it was just just your darkness, no other effects at the time. So they will start working their way along the walls, kind of feeling their way along blindly, but they have more than enough movement to get outside of the sphere of darkness. And seeing you with the lady in tow, seemingly on not exactly friendly terms, they start to draw bows and, ignoring Griaz for the time being, they focus their attention. The walls on the walls are going to focus their attention on you.
I sure hope they don't shoot at me and hit the princess. That would be really bad.
Where'd I put my dice? Oh, there they are. Oh, wait, I don't even know why I said that. Oh, over here they are. Sorry about that. My head is all kinds of scrambled. All right. Let's see how they do. Wait, actually, no, I have your AC written down one side. Yep, okay. And do you have Shield of Faith up at the moment? I don't believe so. Just wanted to check.
It's a great question. I thought I did, but I'm just making sure that... No, I dropped it for darkness, that's why.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Surprised Pikachu face, just...
Okay. And Gaharis, would you please make me a Wisdom saving throw?
Sure, I would love to. Let's see, Wisdom saving throw. Alright, I've got a plus 11 to the roll. What is a 18 plus 11? That's what, 29?
Okay. As the guards draw their bows back, you can see several of them do visibly hesitate, not wanting to risk shooting the lady that you're sort of indirectly using as a shield. However, one guard, seeming to spot an opening, pulls the arrow back a bit further and looses. And the arrow does indeed strike true. Almost striking directly into your heart, but basically just under the shoulder, but above the heart. And while the arrow itself does strike, you do feel this kind of like odd tingling run through the wound where the arrow struck. But with your knightly discipline, you manage to shake off whatever poison these arrows are laced with. However, you do still take damage from the bow itself, which will be... because they actually hit you with a nat 20.
Oof.
Yeah, this is the right one. You take 20 piercing damage.
Alright, so I look barely scathed. That just... because I had all the temporary HP from Ivron.
Yep.
So 18 temp HP gone. 2 damage to me.
All right. But the arrow striking does shake off the confidence you felt following your speech.
That's fair.
The guard who had struck properly draws another arrow and pulls it back. And release her, and you will not be harmed.
Oh, typically, they say that before shooting the first arrow. For record.
The arrow was meant to be a non-lethal dispatch. We're willing to change that strategy if need be. And the other guards start to pull their arrows back as well.
Now, I am a reasonable man. It is not my intention to cut my way through all of you. Nor is it my intention to throw this princess off that ledge. That is really on you, isn't it? Because the minute you fire another arrow at me, I'll be forced to either raise my shield, which requires both hands, or, you can put your boat down, and me and the princess will walk inside and continue our conversation before you're so rudely interrupted.
What business do you have with Lady Guinevere?
That is none of your business.
The guard kind of squints, but after...
I mean, I'll let the princess talk if she needs to weigh in.
After a moment, Lady Quinn does speak up. It's okay. Let us through. And she looks up to you. As long as you promise no one else will be hurt.
I have kept my word so far.
I have these men's word that no one else will be harmed. Lay down your weapons. The guards kind of consider before lowering their bows, seeming irritated, but going along with it, despite their seeming better judgment. The one who had fired at you, who appears to be someone in charge, kind of scowls, but over their shoulder raises a hand and cease fire! Cease hostile actions until the lady's safety can be secured. Lady Quinn breathes a sigh next to you, Gaharis, and kind of looks up to you, seeming still torn between obvious distrust and concern, and there seems to be at least a degree of just hope that you will keep your word, as that is all she really has to go on. And please, my family will give you whatever you want. Just don't hurt anyone.
I have no intention to hurt anyone. This is more of for show. It makes the surrendering easier.
Surrender?
Did you not know the city has already pretty much surrendered?
We just got word we were coordinating an armed response.
That is no longer the case. The Goldshine Investigation Agency is currently negotiating and writing up the surrender of the city and the safe evacuation of all of your people.
And also, I will say, with your passive insight, Gaharis, while you can tell that they seem to be making a best judgment estimation, given that they were going up the mountain with you and following you, likely from town, as far as you can tell, they have no way of knowing if the royal family is actually coordinating an armed response. They seem like they genuinely believe that would be the case, but they don't. That you know, and they know that they have no way of actually knowing if that's true.
Yeah, and from our best knowledge, the Emelian Empire's army is like what, 4 or 5 days out or something.
Yeah. Although whether that's just reflexive guess or similar to you for show, you don't know. But yeah, I will say you know that they don't know that.
All right. So I will pull out the arrow and lay 2 points of heal on wounds, or
lay on hands.
Lay on hands. Well, shall we? I would certainly like to see the castle. Come on, Griaz. We have so much work to do and so little time.
The guards watch you with obvious hostility and suspicion as you cross the bridge into the threshold of the castle gates, and Griaz rejoins you as their toxic gas and the wind wall dispels. Well, that went better than expected.
That is very, very true. I am glad that I did not have to storm the walls and swing my sword the whole bunch. Very heroic, very
heroic?
Depending on which side of the fight you're fighting on. If this is anything like grounds, then most likely the cultists are already in your retinue.
Well, what do you know about these cultists? I've heard the name. We got a warning about them from Veilbright, but we don't have a lot of information about who they are and what to be on the lookout for.
They are people of all places in this world, where they are nobles or the common man, common woman. They are the unfortunate, the faithless, the luckless, those that seek more than they have. In return, they pledge their allegiance to the Cult of Redsight, because the Cult of Redsight gives them magical abilities that surpass the limitations of regular magic. And they have been seeking to cause strife and conflict between the Bluefield Alliance and the Amelian Empire for several years, I would suppose.
You can see she takes all this in and does seem to believe you, as she kind of nods, and I see. And where do you stand in this?
On the side that is going to save the most lives.
Well, what I mean is, you're, and she kind of hesitates, and you can see she looks to Griaz before looking back to you. Are you with the Bluefield Alliance? The Empire?
In my opinion, my lady, the Amelian Empire is due to be torn down a peg between you and I. Conquerors that are unable to hold and unable to recognize how they received the land have no real claim to it. The Bluefield Alliance are merely taking back what was theirs. And I don't think that they are being unreasonable in their requests. I believe that they were attempting peaceful negotiations for a long time. Often being hunted for ears or for sport. But I'm not from these lands. What I'm from is a place far away where we don't have this issue. But the issue we do have here, and most likely will have everywhere, is the cult of Red Sight and what they are going to do. So whichever side, the sides don't matter to me. Everyone is blood, bone, and everyone thinks they're right. What matters is that the small people facing the day after day, trying to eat, just trying to survive, that they are okay. And that's where my allegiance lies, is what will spare the most, and how many can I save?
And how do you know that you're on the right side for that?
Because you're either with me or you're not. Complacency is one of the biggest sins of all, in my opinion.
She sighs and what do you want with my family?
To negotiate their fair and peaceful surrender, to entrust them to Bluefield Alliance generals that I trust, that have the best interests of the people at heart. They did not want to storm a city, and they clearly have the means to win this fight. They intend to have a peaceful resolution in which you and your family would not be harmed, but would be held until a further time when hopefully negotiations and settlements can be reached.
She considers, and you can see there's like a internal struggle as she seems kind of torn, and eventually.
Do I see that she has a struggle?
Yeah.
Then I would interject. And they had the means to destroy this city and everyone in it.
What?
They have a weapon that could destroy and kill and slaughter indiscriminately everyone. They chose not to do that because we made a case for your people and for your family to be spared. That brick and mortar is of little consequence in return for family, friends. And they, after dealing with us, decided to give it a chance. That they are willing to make peace. The real question is, are you?
It's not my decision, but I didn't know it was even possible to make peace with them.
Well, perhaps some time amongst them may teach you a lot of things. I think the problem with drawing lines in the sand along race is that both sides demonize the others and no one really understands. Because they don't want to. It's easier to stay on your side and say everything else is wrong. They aren't monsters. And not everyone in the Emilian Empire is a conqueror.
You can see she is looking at you with very wide eyes. And it kind of sets in that, like, well, she's definitely, like, you know, an expected age you would expect for a lady of nobility. It really sets in that she is rather young. You imagine this to be the younger sister that I believe it was, I want to say Griaz mentioned.
Yeah.
That Griaz mentioned, and seems not disbelieving, but genuinely shocked at what you're saying. The idea that the Bluefield Alliance can be negotiated with, that they're not just mindless, bloodthirsty savages that lay waste to everything they see. And
yeah, at this point I'll release her and start walking inside.
After kind of staring at you for a moment, she kind of jogs to keep pace with, and then eventually get ahead of you to the doors of the castle. And if you think it's really possible to negotiate with them, and you are telling the truth that they have a weapon that could destroy the whole city, then I'm sure my mother and father will listen.
You said that you received word from Valebright about the Cult of Red Sight.
My parents did. I only overheard bits and pieces.
Do you know the reason why the siege ended?
I heard there was a dragon, and that the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency took it down before it hurt anyone.
Well, to be honest, the siege had ended before the dragon showed up. The Bluefield Alliance realized they were being played and manipulated by the Cult of Red Sight to target Valebright. The siege was to be used as a ruse for the Cult of Red Sight to get into the city and cause general destruction and mayhem. We spoke with the Bluefield Alliance and they assisted us in saving Valebright, and then they left.
Why would they save us?
Because they don't view everyone as monsters.
We'll come back to you. Israel, as you run through the freezing, snowy streets of Jor, the storm is beginning to worsen as the sun is beginning to set and night is beginning to fall. And as Griaz predicted, only exacerbated by the weather-based spell casting that's been going on across town, the blizzard is beginning to hit. The snowfall begins to intensify, and you find yourself having to kind of fight against the wind a bit as you walk. Although thankfully the bulk of the wind is not necessarily blowing directly against where you're going, it appears to be coming from a southern direction, which for you right now is coming from your right. So you're having to kind of like raise a bit of an arm against the wind as your hair like just gets blown that way. But you are still able to maintain your course without getting knocked around too badly. The temperature is dropping fast, and you can see what few people are still on the streets are starting to rush inside their homes or starting to panic as the sky between the fall of night and the dense clouds that Utaka and Gria has left in their wake, the sky is dark, the air is freezing, the winds are strong, and as the snowfall begins to worsen, you find your range of vision starting to drop. I will say, between the two of you, as the blizzard starts to reach its peak, the two of you, Utaka and Israel, will run into each other. Israel, while you have to kind of squint through the snow and the wind like against your face, you see Utaka kind of half carrying, half dragging a pair of dark elf dancers and a halfling who appears to be donned in ringmaster garb trailing behind. Utaka, the water is beginning to freeze to your skin, creating this kind of painfully bristly sensation and like stiff sensation. And the dark elves start to like shudder and their teeth begin to chatter. And the halfling is kind of having to fight to keep his hat on his head as the wind is actually kind of like almost tripping you as you're basically going sort of with it, but sort of against it. So it's like almost like you're perpetually going down a slope as you have to kind of fight to keep your footing as the gusts of wind and heavy snowfall again, like it's freezing and your vision is starting to get impaired, but you can just make out Utaka like also fighting against the wind coming up the path as the two of you run into each other.
So, shouting above all of this wind and stuff, she will go, I see you've got them. Muted.
Yeah, something like that.
We need to get
Here.
inside.
Yeah, this one ain't fucking walking so good. Here, come here.
Yeah. She's actually going to take a moment and actually pull from her bag the spare bolt of wool that she'd been working with. It is still only roughly shaped, and she sort of like tosses it at one of the walking dark elves, or at least semi-walking dark elves, and is like, wrap that around. And she sort of actually goes ahead and uses her own cloak to drape around the other one, who also seems to be poorly clothed for this situation.
Yeah, I will say.
And she has like the rest of her winter clothes on. She's like, I could probably make it, but like these two are gonna have hypothermia and might actually like lose limbs, and we would never know because their skin's already dark. I don't know how frostbite looks on skin that already looks like it's frostbitten. This is gonna be difficult. So yeah. She will also help Utaka and get these folks in the direction of shelter then.
Yeah. And I will say the dark elf lady in the suit immediately gives the warmer wool to her sister, who again is in that like very revealing circus attire and is clearly freezing, and gently drapes her in the wools before wrapping the cloak around herself. And again, still kind of shuddering and teeth chattering. And you can see the Israel, you see this freshly. One of them appears badly wounded. And is like actively covering their wounds from the freezing cold, and kind of like leans on you as she continues to limp further down the street in whatever direction the two of you indicate. I will say, where do the two of you want to go? Israel, you would know that Ivron is at the barracks, but you can go somewhere else closer if you prefer.
So right now with the weather as bad as it is, I don't think she'd be aiming for the barracks, unfortunately.
How far is that from us?
Yeah, exactly. How far?
The barracks in ideal conditions from where you are would be about doing some quick mental math in my head. Israel was already sprinting. Probably.
Technically, as per my background, I move through a city twice as fast as other people, and
that
also
is true.
Groups that I'm leading to.
Yeah, that is true. So I will say in ideal conditions, the barracks would be like maybe a 20-30 minute walk. The snow might slow it down to 45 to an hour.
Exactly, and I don't think Israel would want to chance these poorly clad and injured people in the snow for that long, with how cold it's getting. So she's going to the first inn essentially that she can see
Yeah,
that
which
is
thankfully there
available and
is,
open.
which
She's
thankfully there
gonna.
is one nearby, so easily done. Okay. As the two of you change course, as mentioned, there is a nearby inn, and not stopping for pleasantries, opening the doors. You can see there are already quite a few people inside who kind of jump and panic a bit, especially seeing that you have dark elves with you. But the bartender, who appears to be a dwarfen man, kind of peers over the countertop. You can see they have a hand under the bar, seemingly readying a weapon just in case. But seeing that the dark elves are injured and the two of you are common folk, they immediately like basically just bar hop over the side and start gesturing for the group of you to enter. Come in, come in, come in. Let's get you out of the cold.
Yeah, anywhere we can go where we can wrap her up.
Yes. My family room will have to do. We have the fireplace ready for those who need to get out of the cold. Come.
All right,
Exactly.
follow him.
Okay. Ivron, just for a quick update, because unfortunately there's not too much going on where you are, but
All right.
as you're drafting up the peace treaty, you can hear the thunderclaps before the blizzard intensifies. Um, uh, Basically, any updates to what you're doing. You know that the captain of the guard was just sent to basically call a temporary ceasefire while the truce is negotiated, and is informing the guards of the situation vis-a-vis the Children Red site.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how long exactly it would take to draw up these drafts, but if Ron's definitely drawing up, I think, the preliminary for the ceasefire and then also the draft for the treaty for surrender, which will come after. Um, so, I mean, I'm not sure how long that would take, but if he does find some free time, he's in the sergeant's office.
Yeah, you're in the front office in the barracks. Yeah.
All right. He's not going to go snooping, but if there are certain documents or correspondence that are just kind of lying open, I think curiosity might get the better of him. And
Make a
he'd just be
perception
looking
check.
for, yeah. What is my perception? It's just been so long. 12.
You do see a few documents and drawers, but you don't see anything that immediately catches your eye. So yeah, nothing immediately jumps out to you.
Sure. Yeah, so I mean, everyone's just going to keep writing these documents if they're not already done in triplicate, as he wants to make sure that each side has their own copy and he himself has a copy as well.
Okay.
So that way, if anyone loses, he can be like, "Bam, got it."
Okay. All right. So we'll come back to you then. So yeah. So 2 treaties and an extra copy of each. So all right. We'll again come back to you whenever that would have been done.
Yeah.
Okay. Harris, with Griaz and Lady Quinn in tow, you make your way into the palace. Well, calling it a palace is a bit much. A castle, I can't necessarily call it a humble one, but a castle. Making your way inside. Everything is donned in this kind of bluish tone. Not the lighter blue of the Bluefield Alliance, but this kind of like deep sea, like sea colored blue. You Making your way through the castle, it appears relatively abandoned at the moment. You don't hear anything and you don't see anyone. However, the layout is relatively similar to the one you had seen in ground, except at the crest of the staircase, rather than the mad paintings of Villanova, you instead see what appear to be royal portraits. You see a family portrait of what appears to be 4 individuals. One, a very handsome, human-looking man with the same bright blonde hair as the rest of the Quinn family and brilliant blue eyes. A slight, very handsome goatee, facial hair, although the facial hair appears to be more of a dull brown than the blonde of their hair. Presumably the Duchess, who, as Griaz had observed, looks uncannily like her daughters, which Griaz informed you, and you yourself have heard this in your courting of nobility, that there are rumors that Duchess Quinn may be of Bluefield heritage and uses makeup and magic to hide her true appearance. You can see the lady that walks alongside you now, seemingly the youngest and smallest, and another unfamiliar person who looks relatively like her, but is visibly taller. Their facial expressions are sharper and more severe. However, against their darker clothes and very, again, sharp and restrained looking severe face, their hair is done up in girlish pigtails, which kind of makes this like a kind of cute and interesting little contrast for an otherwise very, again, focused and sharp looking woman. And Gwen pipes up next to you. They're either in one of the bedrooms or probably the library if they already know what's happening. If not there, maybe the balcony.
Well, I would be so thankful if you could escort us there, then.
Yes, just please don't take anything.
I believe we got off on the wrong foot. I have no intention to steal from you. You have nothing I want.
You can see she almost looks kind of briefly offended, but after a moment kind of shakes her head to kind of focus, and as she does lead you towards the staircase across the entrance hall, she kind of looks to you curiously. If you had information about the Bluefield Alliance and wanted to help, why didn't you just ask? The guards probably would have let you in.
With enemies at your gate seeing... Is Griaz still a spider? I bet he probably would stay as a spider.
He had to unwild shape to cast his spells, remember?
I thought he cast, then he wild shaped. No, you're right. It was the other way around because he made the web bridge.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have reacted kindly to my companion and I, especially knowing who is at your city gates. Better to let ourselves in.
Is it, though?
Well, no one died. And only one arrow was fired, which is much better than we usually do, all things considered.
How does it usually go?
Well, last time I got attacked by a vampire.
I didn't know we had vampires here.
Oh, not here, but in ground, yes. But that's a tale for another time. Time's a wasting, as they say.
Okay, but I am going to want to hear that story later.
You can hear all the stories you want. I am sure that once you meet the rest of the Goldshine Investigation Agency agents, you will have endless stories
She gives a nod, seeming satisfied, and leads you up the stairs. Again, contrasting the more lavish, both between the mad paintings and the just generally ostentatious presentation of ground. It's weird seeing what is functionally an identically designed castle. You imagine it's a standardized design for the Emelian Empire. It's odd seeing the exact same place so much more dark and humble. Honestly, if you had seen this castle and didn't know already that people were here, you would honestly think it was probably abandoned. While you do see the occasional royal portrait or things of that nature, everything kind of has this smattering of dust and not necessarily letting it completely fade away. It's not disrepair, but you do definitely get the idea of disuse.
I smell the scent of death?
Make a perception check.
That's scary that you're letting me do this. Now, I don't want to be here anymore. All right. All right, let's see here. With advantage, that is a 17.
You take a cautious sniff and kind of observe your surroundings. You don't see or smell anything that would make you think that there was death or violence here. It more seems like the castle, basically, speaking as someone who is effectively nobility yourself, you get the impression that given you don't see any staff and everything is more just dusty than outright disrepaired or broken, you more get the impression that they either don't have enough staff or probably don't have any. Although it is possible they simply evacuated, but that still wouldn't explain why everything's so dusty. So you imagine that
if they didn't have staff, they have a whole bunch of guards.
Yeah.
So they at least can pay them.
Well, yes, but there's a difference between guards for protection and
and staff for beautification,
dusting and cleaning up everything.
I won't say anything. I'll be nice. I think I'm making a beeline because I think time is of the essence at this point.
Yeah, which she appears to agree and is quickly taking you. And she kind of considers for a moment, and you can hear her just kind of mumbling to herself before. There's no way they don't know. They're probably going to be on the balcony. So she takes you upstairs and down down a hallway, which you recognize design-wise as being the same place where you fought the statues and candle wax golems and ground, before throwing open the doors of the balcony. And indeed, while you don't know if they were there, they certainly weren't visible, although granted you were more paying attention to the ongoing conflict than gazing at the castle itself. You do see the three royal blonde heads of the Quinn family who turn as the door is thrown open, and Gwen immediately runs forward and is hugged by the three of them. And you can see the Duke kind of look down and kind of, after kissing her on the head, just, "Where were you? You know better than to run off." And she kind of gives a nod and takes his hand. "I know, Papa, but..." She pauses and turns to look at you, Gaharis, and turns back to her parents and her sister.
I'll give a formal bow.
"This man, these men, want to negotiate with us." The Duke kind of tilts his head, but he returns the bow, as does the Duchess and the other lady. And Gwen goes to stand by her sister as the Duke and Duchess approach you. And the Duke kind of looks you up and down with a bit of a smirk on his face, and less of like a smarmy one and more of like a seemingly like genuinely amused one. And, "So, you're the one that broke into the castle, I presume?"
You presume correctly.
"A very interesting negotiation strategy, but I'm willing to hear you out. Do the Bluefield creatures wish to negotiate their surrender?"
Well, the funny thing about that is I'm here to negotiate yours.
Ah.
But it does have its perks. So I won't... Surrender is a really rough term. How about we say a joint negotiation for the betterment of everyone?
You can use whatever formal language you like. It doesn't change the facts.
I suppose not. But I think it's in your best interest to hear me out. And in the best interest of your people. Who, one way or the other, if we don't reach negotiations, things may end poorly for. Whether being caught in crossfire if we have to fight this out. And I am not part of the Bluefield Alliance. I want you to know that. I am acting on behalf of the Goldshine Investigation Agency. There are cultists within your city, and regardless of you, if you accept this deal, I fear they will act. And I, for once, don't know their plans.
At this, the pair of them do, you can see the Duke and Duchess take each other by the hand and look at each other. And the Children of Redsight, here.
Yes. The Bluefield Alliance are more interested in their removal from your city than the buildings of mortar and the people. They want your docks, and they want to remove the Cult of Redsight. That is why they negotiated with us, to let us in and negotiate with you.
At this, the lady speaks up, the one you have not met formally yet. And why not have you take care of the Children of Redsight, as is your job, is it not? And allow us to deal with the invaders.
Tell me, have you dealt with the Cult of Redsight before, my lady? Are you aware of the magnitude of their capabilities?
I have been informed by your agents, yes. I have not witnessed it myself, but I have done the research.
Then you would know there's no way I can guarantee your city's safety or the safety of those who reside in it. I don't think these cultists are going to come easily this time. The Bluefield Alliance have already agreed to let every single one of your citizens leave before battle, if battle is to occur, that they will be already out of harm's way, that there will be no non-combatants caught up. Secondly, they don't require a battle to be fought at all. As I stated, all they want is to take your ships or destroy your docks and remove the Cult of Redsight. In return, none of your people die, and all they ask is that you and your family are held in their protection until a settlement can be reached.
Your hostages.
Would you have been willing to offer them the same if these roles were reversed?
I would, if it was possible to negotiate at all.
Well, the fact that I'm here implies that that is possible, as they are the reason we're here. They do not want to fight you, and believe me, they have means to level your city to the ground. And
you can see the three of them do balk as Gwen just kind of winces a bit, already knowing this. And as all of them visibly pale even more than they already are, they all kind of look to each other, and the older lady places her hand on theirs as they all look to each other, and The lady takes over for her father. What will become of the children of Red Sight whenever they have been apprehended? Do you intend to turn them over to the Bluefield Alliance?
No, they will stay with the Goldshine Investigation Agency. Unfortunately, their powers are too unpredictable and uncontrollable to let them fall on either side of this war. They have been manipulating both sides for a while now, and I think it's for the betterment of everyone if we take them and remove them from the picture. If it comes down to a fight that we can't avoid, of course we always try to take them alive for questioning and to learn what their motives are, but that is not always feasible.
The lady gives a nod, and that is wise. She sighs and looks to her parents and kind of gives a nod, and the two of them nod in return. And if you can promise the safety of our people and that the children of Red Sight will not be turned over to the Bluefield Alliance, then we are willing to give ourselves up as hostages. Docks can be rebuilt, the city can be rebuilt, but we cannot rebuild the lives of our people if they are taken. But the Duchess, kind of looking up at the sky, which, as you're on the balcony, you too are now privy to the worsening blizzard conditions. How will we evacuate? The lake will soon freeze in these conditions, and the forest will be too cold to traverse.
I'm so
Even
glad
the trip to...
you asked. My men and my associates and retinue have been preparing a waypoint outside of the city's limits for your people since we arrived.
And if it is true that the Bluefield Alliance only seeks the destruction of our naval forces and resources, can we then return home when their desires are met?
Which, is this still the Duchess talking?
Yes.
I would assume that is entirely possible. It's not entirely up to me, but I would say this. You stand to gain a lot. One, I would advise not assuming the Bluefield Alliance are monsters. There is a side of progress, and there is a side of people to cling to the past. I advise that, whether you want my advisement or not, is a moot point, but there is a common ground I think you and the Bluefield Alliance would share. It is entirely possible if you played your cards right, and you took what their claims and discussions are off merit, and you understood and tried to understand where they're coming from, I think you would find that you're both really on the same side.
You can see all of them have been given some significant pause for thought, and you can see them all kind of noticeably glancing to Griaz, not even with necessarily looks of fear, but more just looks of genuine confusion. And after a moment, the Duke and Duchess nod to each other again, and the Duchess speaks up. You're right. This war's been going on for far too long. And there's no sense in being on the wrong side of history. She grasps the hands of her husband and the hands of her eldest daughter, and we will come willingly, as long as our people are spared, and be allowed to retain their homes and livelihood if at all possible.
You have my word.
Our economy can recover from losing the fishing grounds of the lake, but there would be nowhere for us to go if we were to lose our homes.
You have my word. I will negotiate on your behalf as best I can. We'll need 6 cloaks. There's what, 3 of them? 4 of them, right?
4 of them, yes. Although Gwen already has their sort of incognito thieves getup.
We'll need to get 6 cloaks if I was one of our enemies, I assume that when I escort you out of here, they're going to try something if they were to. So, let's try
The children of Redsight or the Bluefield Alliance?
the children of Redsight. The Bluefield Alliance, after negotiating with their general, of which I have met with several times, I have no belief that they will go against their word. Unless something has happened to them. In which case, I would suspect, if that happened, that the Cult of Redsight has already started their attack, and their attack on your side will follow quickly.
The family all exchange looks again, and the Duke gives a nod. For all of our sakes, I hope you're right. Our guards will accompany us and ensure our safety, and we will attempt to blend as well as we can. I want to make sure there is no risk of miscommunication. The eldest lady gives a nod. Indeed, if it's true what you say, that the children of Redsight intend to manipulate both sides of the war, then the last thing we need is guards and captains not having any idea when negotiations are happening and where. We need to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Of course.
The lady gives a bow to you and holds out her hand. I don't believe I'm familiar with you beyond your affiliation.
Oh yeah, I've had my faceplate down this entire time. My name is of no consequence. I'm merely as a representative of the Goldshine Investigation Agency.
She gives a smile, seeming fairly friendly, and with all respect, we're putting our lives in your hands on nothing but your word that everything we know about these people is wrong, and that there is a hidden enemy we cannot see that seeks to sabotage us.
Well, you can trust the word of Ivron.
Captain Ivron, Field Team C.
Of course.
She kind of looks you up and down, but kind of smiles a little bit, and very well. She bows to her parents, who return the gesture, and well then, lead on, Agent. And that's where we're going to take a break.
All right. So we will be back, what do you say, 10 minutes? 5 minutes? 8 minutes?
7.5. Exactly.
Okay, we'll see you all in about 10 minutes. How about that?
Yeah.
9:40.
Yeah.
So get some water, get some snacks, hold on to your dice, and we'll be right back.
Like, are you trying to tell me that you're not only a head and face and glasses and shirt and chest and legs and also toes? Who are
It-
you?
it's like
What
how
do you mean?
cats seem to not realize that your legs are still your lap whenever you're standing up.
Yeah.
We're back, everybody. We were talking about pets.
A wonderful use of our time.
It's very true.
That's why we were a whole whopping 10 extra minutes late.
I'm sorry. I was hungry.
Hey, it's okay.
But are we ready to dive back in?
Yes.
Okay. When we left off, Harris, you have successfully brokered a sort of truce with the royal family of Jor, who have agreed to turn themselves over to the Bluefield Alliance in exchange for the safety of their people and the preservation of their homes and livelihood. And while not exactly happy about it, have acquiesced to the destruction of the docks and their shipping resources if the alternative is the complete annihilation of the town. Um, uh, that being said, Utaka, Israel. The dwarfen innkeeper brings you to the back room where a bunch of winter gear and supplies are held on shelves and on the walls, almost like a sort of diet shop kept in the back of this inn. And you can see what appears to be their spouse and various children kind of scrambling around getting things for people. Quite a few others are gathered around a large fireplace that is brimming with warmth and heat, and the dark elves immediately kind of start limping towards it and kind of gravitating. While there are a lot of people gathered at the fireplace, as you all start to approach, the dwarfs kind of urge people to, basically sit closer together while also giving people their space. So while it's not exactly complete privacy, you do have some space as assuming you let them, the dark elves make to sit down near the fireplace, and the one of the sisters starts to nurse their wounds while the other kind of like kind of nervously goes between tending to them and kind of nervously looking at all of you, seeming like they're both just wondering when the questioning is going to start or when the other shoe might drop. The halfling, for their part, immediately just kind of turns their attention away, seeming almost bored, and starts just browsing the different shelves and making idle chit chat with the innkeeper. As the dark elves attempt to rest and warm themselves, anything the two of you would like to do or say?
Yeah. First, Israel will address the dark elves, and with the first necessary, can you feel all your limbs?
I'd also just like to do like a inspection if I
Exactly.
can.
Like she's approaching them, like clearly looking them over of what exactly are the extents of these wounds, that kind of thing. I'm like, what are we dealing with here?
I will say Israel, make me a medicine check with advantage. Otaka, would you prefer to do it? I was
That'd
saying,
probably be better for us.
okay.
Okay.
Otaka,
Unless
medicine with
you,
advantage.
I don't know what
Israel
your
will be
medicine
his nurse. That's the only.
Well, yeah, no, I was only saying that because Israel moved, seemed like they were moving to do it first, so that's usually how I
Okay.
arrange it. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead, Utaka. Medicine with advantage.
That would be a 19.
Utaka and Israel, as the two of you look them over, thankfully, it appears that while their garments are certainly not made for the cold, the relatively brief exposure to the worst of it, especially as they were at least somewhat prepared for cold, just not a full-on blizzard this early. They certainly look the worse for wear, but you do not see any signs of frostbite or serious damage beyond just shivering and kind of sniffling a little bit. And in response to your question, Israel, both of them nod, and the one in the suit speaks up. Yeah, I think we'll be all right for now.
how crowded in are we here? Is the inn barkeep like keeping an eye on us?
At the moment, again, he's making conversation with the halfling. So while he's like basically glancing at you every so often, more to make sure everything's fine.
I give him like
Seeing,
a
yeah,
thumb up.
and he gives a smile and a nod and goes back to making conversation with the halfling. And the other families or groups in here seem more intent on taking care of each other. So while you're not alone, you don't exactly have privacy. People aren't exactly paying you a lot of mind. Um, uh, and it seems like this is basically likely this dwarf's family's like living area that has just been repurposed into a sort of makeshift shelter to account for the blizzard. As again, the dwarf's spouse and children are kind of running to and fro, making sure everyone is taken care of. So while you're occasionally dropped off like blankets and warm drinks and the spouse occasionally checks in to make sure you do not need food. For the most part, you are left to your own devices to warm yourself by the fire and stay safe and out of the blizzard.
That said, when I am brought one of those warm beverages, I would like to mutter into the mug the incantation for detect magic while I'm drinking.
Okay, and you're just doing a kind of survey?
Yeah, see what these elves, what gear they have with them, see if what the halflings got on them, see if I'm getting the weird static sensation.
All right, so in that order. On the Dark Elves, you do see several magical blips. You get it from the blades that they had on their hands and feet, which have now been retracted with the fight over. They, in general, give off magic. It is an unfamiliar magic. It seems like it doesn't necessarily belong to any of the schools you recognize. However, it doesn't have the same signal as the Children of Red Sight do. So while they do appear to be giving off an aura of a unique magic, it's not necessarily Children of Red Sight, at least as far as you can tell, but it does appear unique. But they are carrying what appear to be enchanted blades for their weapons. As well as chains. The chain whips that they had been using also appear to be magical. Beyond that, you do not get any Children of Red Sight aura or other magical auras from them. The halfling does not appear to be giving off any magic whatsoever. And in the room at large, nothing appears to give off any other magics outside of the occasional minor blip that you expect from like some nearby citizenry, but nothing that strikes you as suspicious.
Okay. And it does extend like 30 feet, so anyone in the next room over.
Yeah, so yeah, basically, halfling doesn't have anything. There doesn't appear to be too much magic in the inn itself. The only major blips you're getting beyond yourself and your companion is the dark elves, which give off a unique aura you don't recognize, but isn't Children of Red Sight, and the enchantments.
So no one in the crowd seems suspicious.
Nothing that strikes you as odd.
Cool. Kind of glance around and lean over and kind of like shoulder bump Israel. Not finding any of them here. Don't think they are either.
Blackies then?
Yeah, I think so.
But
did you know that they were warned about me specifically?
And she just sort of looks around and then goes like yeah, that tracks.
Like, not Gaharis. Me.
And she goes, like, yeah, and would then provide you with you did melt someone's face off.
Okay, don't diminish my accomplishments. I melted 2 people's. He's gonna realize he needs to lower his voice.
Just- and she just sort of like rubs her forehead and it's like that and the storms and you know how our own group is hesitant to let you handle lightning?
Like y'all could fucking stop me.
Again, not the point,
Okay.
but you get it now. Like, no, I'm not particularly surprised. I am amazed that they are still alive, though. Good job.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was not expecting that, quite frankly, when I saw the light.
Well,
are you gonna patch them up then, or are we just gonna sort of let them?
I mean, I don't know if I want him running.
Okay.
They're not
And
running.
she just goes to like get bandages out of her bag to like properly wrap this.
Yeah, which
Like,
the dwarf children also were coming by to assist with that anyway. So
like cool,
Like
great.
he'll help you with the mundane stuff. He's just not gonna pump more healing magic into them because he doesn't want them feeling healthy
and she's
enough
like,
to
that's
run.
fair. That's very fair. All right, we'll just make sure that they don't bleed all over everything. And
Yeah.
she's also gonna take back her wool thing and her cloak since
Yeah,
now they have blankets, presumably.
Yeah, which they do return, seeming a little reluctant, but they do return it. And for fun, Otaka, go ahead and make me another medicine check at advantage, just to see how well the bandaging goes.
23.
Okay. You patch up the suit-wearing dark elf perfectly well. Again, you have assistance from Israel and the dwarfs, so it is no trouble at all to wrap their wounds. And the other dark elf's wounds are more superficial for the most part, so they appear more concerned about their sister than anything. And the two of them kind of look around at just the surroundings, but especially at the two of you, seeming kind of off-put and uncomfortable, but trying to stay attentive and alert. Not quite willing to lower their guard.
In true Israel fashion, she just sort of like sits like a very regular person on the end of the bed or whatever they are presumably sitting on, and just faces them and is like,
there are mats laid out on the.
Yeah, exactly. First things first, none of you are going to die. Good, I suppose. Second thing, are there any more of you or any of your previous employers here that you know of?
Not that we know of.
I would like to cast Zone of Truth.
Okay. That's a wisdom save, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me make that wisdom save.
DC?
15.
Okay. Does Zone of Truth tell you if they pass or fail? The one in the suit succeeds. The one, their sister fails.
I succeeded.
Do I need to do it for my own?
You don't. You don't have to make a save.
I think because you created it.
Okay.
No, not that we know of. We were told to come here and try and get some new recruits. That's it. We didn't have any other orders. But after what happened to Arpeggio, we just wanted to leave. We were going to work for TP just to get enough money to leave the continent and go home.
So there's been no recruiting?
No, we didn't. Like I said, like she said, we changed our mind. We haven't even spoken to the people we were supposed to.
Who were they?
Yeah.
The ladies, Angela and Gwenton Quinn, we were told that they might be interested if we asked them, and they said we were to make an attempt. The Duke and Duchess are lost causes, but we thought maybe the ladies could be persuaded if we gave them something they wanted, or had
Why are
something
they
to offer.
lost causes?
Well, they didn't give us the reasons, but we've been connecting the dots ourselves. The Children of Red Sight want this conflict to keep going. We don't know why, but they do. And, well, you've heard the rumors, haven't you? It's going to be hard to convince a half-orc woman to help keep a war between both of her families going. But her children might be persuaded. We were also supposed to talk to Sergeant Pierce. Apparently she's got some Bluefield blood in her too. Boss thought that maybe she would be ashamed enough of it to join us if it meant clearing that. But we didn't try. We never spoke to her.
And y'all ain't made any contact with any of the people you're supposed to, and I'm gonna look specifically at the one that I know can't lie to me.
She kind of looks a bit nervous, but we haven't spoken to anyone. We'd be in a lot of trouble if they knew that we weren't doing our job. Like I said, we just wanted to make enough money to leave and then hopefully be out of town before they realized what was happening. Figured with everything you guys were doing that we might slip under the radar, but apparently not.
How long's it been since you talked to Caldwell?
Caldwell, we haven't spoken to him personally, at least in months. We were assigned to work with Arpeggio. We just met Mr. Caldwell whenever we got our assignments.
Arpeggio's been dead for some time, though. Who you been getting your orders from since then?
Well, he wants us to think it's a different person each time, but we're dark elves. We know illusion magic. He comes with different disguises, but it's always the same guy. Just shows up, gives us orders, and then leaves. Different face every time.
So you saw through the illusion?
Didn't see through it, but we know
Not
it's an
even
illusion.
once?
I said we knew illusion magic. We're not miracle workers. However, I'm positive it's a man.
Gives you a different name every time, I suppose. Or a cousin.
Yeah, he's always done that since we got hired. I don't want to say joined. We've never the same face twice.
And what did they promise you?
Nothing but money. It was the higher ups that were getting fancy abilities. We didn't want anything to do with that. They just said we would be paid if we helped Arpeggio out with Veilbright, and whenever Arpeggio died, they said if we wanted the money, we would have to help out a little bit more wherever we could.
But remind me, there were more of you.
Used to be. Not anymore.
And Israel does look at him like we were personally responsible for, I think, at least. And she's like, 3. I want to say 3.
It wasn't him. He was busy in that fight.
Yeah, but there were definitely a number of them.
We were at the circus getting the blimp ready for the attack on Veilbright whenever we found out what happened to the boss. Everyone who was with us either went into hiding or went back to find the next person who could get us paid. My sister and I just wanted to leave.
And you said you want to cross an ocean to get home? Where's home for you?
They both kind of frown a little bit, and home's wherever the money happens to be.
Huh.
I just don't want it to be here anymore.
Probably for the best. You want to be as far away from where Red Sight can reach you as possible when they figure out that you're not really on the payroll anymore.
There's no getting out of their range, but we're hoping that if we get far enough away, the inconvenience of chasing us down will outweigh their being pissy about it.
What if you make it real fucking convenient? You want money, right?
That's the idea. Dark elves gotta eat too, believe it or not.
How do they find you after you do your jobs?
They tell us where we're supposed to go, and then we wait there for further orders. That's why
And
we wanted to
where's
leave
that?
town.
How close is that?
right here. This is where we were supposed to be, remember? That's why we wanted to leave before the boss came in to find us.
Yeah, but you got like a drop-off point, or
He finds us. We don't know how.
so
No
he's
matter.
in town.
He might not be in town, but he definitely knows we're here. Always seems to know where we are. Again, I have no idea how.
Scrying?
I've heard that some of the higher ups can see the future. Might be something to do with that, but I don't know.
That is
It
a
sounds like
point.
scrying magic.
I
Or
do
a
have,
location spell.
I do have blind sight, which I think would allow me to sense if there was a sensor near.
I think it would tell you if there was a sensor, but I don't think it would
Okay.
tell you if they were being scryed on.
No.
Yeah.
The only people who know that they're being scryed on are the subjects.
Yeah.
If they pass the check.
We don't know how he does it, but however he does, he knows exactly where we are, tells us to wait wherever our last job was, and then he'll come to give us an update. Before that, we were just told to follow arpeggio and do whatever he told us to do, but whenever that went tits up, we just started wandering around and wherever he told us to.
I want to help you get back home. I want to give you the gold you need to do that. But we're gonna need like a little bit of help first, yeah? You get it. You do jobs.
We're not experts, but whatever you need. It's not gonna change anything. And if it helps you take them down, then why not?
We help you. Gotta talk with one of the girls you want to see. And then you wait around till you're contacted. And we'll wait too.
We don't want to recruit anyone anymore.
Nah,
You're not
just
going to.
No, you're not gonna.
But you're going to meet with them. So your contact will think that you have.
Yeah.
So that your contact will come and see you. Except they will not be coming to just see you. Because they will be coming to see us. You see? Helping us with this, we can, one, make sure you get out of that situation. And two, your contact potentially will not be around anymore to tail you for a significant portion of time, allowing you to beat feet wherever you want to go.
And we'll fund your leaving.
They kind of look to each other, and the one in the suit kind of gives a bit of a shrug and, well, we're not against it, but we don't know how long it'll be before he comes to find us. Sometimes he'd have us wait months before getting a hold of us.
Yeah,
Where
but
will-
I think they're getting a little desperate, don't you?
Why do you say that?
Well, they want the conflict to keep going, and we're here ending it. So anything they want to do, they want it done now.
They kind of glance to each other again. It does make sense. So, you want us to stay here, meet with the sergeant or the ladies, and wait until the boss comes to find us, and then you...
Yeah.
Well, we'll do what we usually do.
And then we get the money to leave and go wherever we want.
Yeah.
Precisely. Because facts are, you're not really the people that we're looking for.
They look to each other and what if he doesn't turn up? While he doesn't seem omnipotent, he is a man after all. He doesn't strike me as the type to be tricked that easily.
If he doesn't show up, we'll have to move on eventually. We know where the rest, well, where a few other agents are already operating. So we have leads that we could follow.
Whichever ones are left.
There's at least one that's still going strong, unfortunately.
Yeah, but there's all this going on. The fleet in the bay and the girls and their parents up there. They're gonna want something soon.
Well, you didn't actually answer my question. What happens to us if he doesn't turn up?
You piss off, I guess. Just means he might find you at some point on the road. But
And
at
at
that point,
least
we can't do
then-
anything for you. Unless you
At
want to
least-
travel with us and hopefully have him just appear in our camp one day. Which
But
is
even then, if you do beat ground, you can at least tell him that you fucking met with him. Won't be much of a lie.
They make a fair point. Yeah. Okay, we're game, I suppose, but I want that guy kept as far away from possible from me and my sister. I've seen what he does to people who don't match up.
What does he do?
He's never done it to one of the higher ups, but occasionally people like us, just mercenaries. He picked us up from all over the world, where whoever was desperate enough to take the offer. And if we don't satisfy, he has us killed. Never happened to any of us, of course, but I've heard of it happening to others. People who he thought was about to squeal, people who he thought were about to say something they shouldn't.
I ain't got a bunch more questions for you. Mostly, I think we just gotta get you in a room with the girls you need to see and have a chat with some of our friends. But you're saying anyone that turns, they go and murder him?
Anyone who he thinks is going to turn. I've never known anyone to turn and survive it. Well,
So riddle me this. Why is Dr. Regina alive?
that wasn't our assignment, so I don't know all the details, but from what I heard, she was sort of a experiment. Didn't work as intended. The only person I know who turned on us and survived was Tenniel. Everyone else is either dead or not able to say anything helpful.
So you didn't hear she turned.
Regina, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we heard that she turned, but like my sister said, she was an experiment. She didn't know anything. She probably didn't even know we were involved. Well, not us personally, but the Children of Red Sight.
there's a distinction being made. You understand, Utaka? There are people they
Yeah.
take to do shit to, like Regina. And then there are people who join them looking for something, like Tenniel.
Yeah, I'm getting that.
Either way, we'll do what we can to make sure you guys walk away from this.
Okay. Then we're willing to offer you whatever we can. We want nothing else to do with this. The war, Mazai, the Children of Red Sight, the Goldshine investigations, the Bluefield Alliance. We just want to leave. Go somewhere else where we can put our lives back together. No more mercenary work.
Don't blame you a bit. But looking at the storm, unless, you can do something about it, she looks to Utaka. We'll hide out here till it blows over a bit. We have people already inside the palace potentially speaking with the royal family. And we've already brokered the peace treaty back at the barracks with, I think, the sergeant. you're supposed to find. So Evron's there. So we
Speaking-
can make a decision on which place we want to hit first.
What do you want us to say to them?
You don't have to say anything, quite honestly. You're just there to be there and to say that you were there and that you spoke to them. You
You
want
can
us to be
sit
talking.
down and play a hand of cards if you want. I don't give a flying fuck.
Precisely. Wave high. Then you can say you can spoke to them, even if it wasn't of much substance.
Well, we'll take what we can get. Is there anything else we can tell you? Again, we're just mercenaries. We don't know a whole lot, but we're more observant than they gave us credit for.
I don't know. I think I got a question for someone else right now.
Yeah, anyway. Enjoy the break and the drink and get what rest you can. We might have to stay here for the night, depending on the level of the storm.
They both nod, but the one in the suit looking at the two of you. And for what it's worth, good luck if you intend to take on the boss. I doubt he'll show, but if he does, seriously, good luck. I still don't know what he looks like, but he doesn't strike me as a particularly easy to take down guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Most people we face aren't easy to take down. But we'll do it somehow. We muddle through. And Israel's probably going to get up and possibly go back, I guess, to the inn proper to just sort of give the space to the people who might need to actually warm up more, because she's probably fine. She wasn't really out very long.
Seeing that, Utaka's not gonna leave them completely unobserved right now.
Mhm.
So he'll get a chair and kind of drag it over to a wall and sit down and slouch and pull out Garnet from his hair, make sure Garnet's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he would like to cast Sending.
Okay.
And I guess while he's casting Sending, Israel is going to, I guess, the front of the inn to judge basically how the blizzard's going, what's going on, because she might be thinking about sending a message if there's anybody sort of running messages through the streets or any guards, out trying to pull people inside and stuff like that.
Okay. Make a nature check, but just go ahead and keep the result in mind. Utaka, you wanted to cast Sending?
Yeah, to Kenny Caldwell.
Okay.
And I'll go like this. So, what the fuck's up? I thought we were friends. And that's it. That's the whole message.
It doesn't take too long, but you before you get a response. I'm gonna need a bit more context than that, but no, we're not friends. I still got unresolved business, but I think we can help each other out. That is the extent of our relationship.
Okay, that's it.
Israel
I'll get
nature.
back to him tomorrow when I have more spell slots.
Israel nature check.
It was a 17.
From the looks of it, this blizzard will likely be going for definitely the rest of the night, possibly well into tomorrow. However, thankfully, it doesn't seem like it's getting much worse. It seems like it's maintaining its current level for the time being. And thankfully, it seems like Jor isn't exactly a stranger to this, so they at least seem prepared. It's more the fact that it's happening earlier than expected and in the middle of what is expected to be a pitched battle. So there's a lot of people on the streets panicking, but the worst of it, as the sergeant gets the guards together to chill, get away from the docks, and the bells have stopped ringing, things are starting to calm down as attention shift more towards surviving the blizzard than to dealing with the Bluefield Alliance.
Right. Are I guess there any regular patrols of guards like going up and down the street, and then B, how deep is the snow looking? Like how much could she estimate is going to pile up by the next morning?
By the next morning, it's Yeah, you have some experience with this sort of thing. You'd estimate if it keeps going at this rate, which it seems like it will, by the next morning, it's easily going to be like a foot, maybe two. Um, but there are regular patrols of guards going up and down, more focused on getting people inside and warmed. Again, then it seems like the sergeant did keep her word and is getting the guards off the Bluefield Alliance and focused on getting the people to safety, which unfortunately right now is just inside rather than out of the city as intended. Again, Blizzard showed up
Which is
earlier.
again, fine and normal. When one of these guards possibly uses this inn as a place to, get someone off the
Yeah, which
street,
they do frequently. The inn's very close.
he wants to flag down one of them and basically pass on the knowledge to, if they're going back to the barracks at any time, or if they could pass on to the barracks to Ivron that she and Utaka and some new guests are basically snowed in here and will try to meet back up with him or up at the castle as soon as possible.
Okay, the guard will happily do so. We'll get back to that. Gaharis, as you and Griaz escort the royal family down the stairs, again, the castle dusty and relatively lifeless and dull, through the entrance hall, out the doors. The guards immediately are again on edge and hostile, but the Duke raises their hands and the Duchess gives a bow and Captain, would you and your men be so kind as to escort us and our compatriot from the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency down into the city? We will need to negotiate the cessation of hostilities. Again, the guards seem a little apprehensive, but seem a little more at ease that the royal family hasn't been harmed. And again, while they seem grouchy about it, do form a protective border as you are escorted across the castle grounds, over the bridge, and you start following the crystalline trail down the mountain. Anything from you, Gaharis, before arriving in the city?
I'd love to, divine sense.
All right, you want to just everyone around you, basically?
Yeah, it's anyone within 60 feet that's not behind total cover. I will know if any of them are celestial, fiend, or undead.
Okay. As you carefully put out your radar-like sense of your surroundings and what is in them, you don't get any blips. Not from the guards, not from the royal family. They could be a lot of things, but they definitely do not appear to be celestial, fiend, or undead.
Fair. Then I guess I would just be keeping an active look out for anyone attempting to ambush us, as well as I'd like to give the good old up and down of our royal family and see if any of them are wearing any amulets of the Cult of Red Sight.
Make a perception check.
I would love to. 18.
Okay. Keeping an ear and eye on your surroundings, like mostly an ear, as again the blizzard's getting worse, and especially up high on the mountains, seeing them coming is going to be a bit of a hard sell. But so with your ears trying to listen for crunching footsteps in snow through the wind, you focus your eyes on looking for signs of allegiance from the royal family. The Duke appears to be wearing a ceremonial Emelian Empire uniform, a lot of golds and whites and reds. And while you do see a medallion, it appears to be the family crest rather than anything else, which the family crest is what appears to be a sort of snowflake-like design with the design of a long ship curved underneath it. The Duchess is wearing a very humble purplish ceremonial dress. Doesn't do her a lot of favors in the cold, but she had to leave on short notice. The choice of purple strikes you as interesting, but it appears to be more combining the red of the Emelian Empire with the blue of the Quinn family house. She is also wearing a medallion of the crest, but nothing that strikes you as odd. Gwen's sister is wearing the blue of the Quinn family, in a dress almost perfectly matching her mother's. No particular jewelry of note for her. So none of them appear to be wearing medallions, either for or against you, beyond just their loyalty to their family.
Then yeah, I've got nothing. I will just post haste attempt to get them where we need to go.
Okay. So again, blizzard. It's going to take you quite a bit. You're trudging through snow, and a lot of these people aren't really prepared for that sort of travel right now. But you start making your way down the mountain. Again, it's going to take you quite a bit, so we'll come back to you. Ivron. A couple hours go by, and you've gotten the first drafts of the treaty ready. Now you're preparing the backup copies you wanted to keep on yourself. It's around this time, as the blizzard's gotten worse and night has pretty much fallen. The guards start to periodically come by and let people into the barracks just to get them off the streets while it's snowing like this, especially in the dead of night. And I imagine you occasionally just get up to help them out with that. But after about 2 hours of this, one of the guards, as you and the guards are helping get some civilians inside and into the barracks where it's warm and there's food, pipes up to you. I was asked to give you a message. Agents Israel and Utaka are snowed in at the inn for the time being, to the south side of town. They said they have some guests, but they're going to be snowed in for the time being.
Noted. Thank you.
Of course, Captain. And I will say, at this point, the sergeant actually returns, and the glazed over effect of her eyes appears to have subsided. And you notice some slight kind of irritation, like very, very much the motions of someone who's very aggravated, but basically trying to focus on doing their job for the time being. Although you do notice she's very curt, not really giving you much more than a passing nod as she passes you by, focus on escorting civilians and then getting back out on patrol. Assuming you don't stop and ask her, she doesn't elaborate on what exactly is bugging her, but she is dealing with a lot right now, to be fair.
I think if Ivron has kind of finished up with what he's doing, he would at least approach her and question her on a few things, but first and foremost might be, what's up her armor.
So yeah, I'll say, again, you've gotten the first drafts and a copy for yourself drafted up. So as you're helping with civilians, and she comes in from another milk run of getting people off the streets, as she passes you by, you have the chance to ask her if you want to phrase it in any particular way.
Pardon me, Sergeant. Is there any help that I could use?
Nah, I think the worst of it is dealt with for the time being. I've just got to get people off the streets. But while I've got you, I did want to know.
Yes.
Any particular reason you found it appropriate to charm one side during the negotiations?
I must admit that I am not happy about such tools of manipulation being used. I can assure you that was not my intention. The Bluefield Alliance felt that it might assist us in establishing a parley on their behalf. Would you have parlayed with us on behalf if we came without the belt?
She does kind of hesitate for a moment, and well, probably not, no, but
If it's any consolation, I did feel quite bad about the use of the bell. I could see the frustration as we were agreeing to some terms of the negotiation.
and you didn't agree to that.
Agree to the bell? No, of course not.
She kind of considers for a moment before kind of sighing and all right. Thanks for the help, at least. We need to get people off the streets. This blizzard came a lot quicker than we expected, and it's a lot worse than we thought it was going to be. It's been getting colder lately. Don't know why.
Is this weather not common to this part of the world?
Ah, well, it usually gets pretty chilly whenever the winter comes around, but we usually don't expect snowfall not this heavy. Yeah, we get light snowfall, but this is the worst it's been in a long time.
Strange. Yet I am no weatherman. However, I do have 2 strong arms, and I could assist in maybe getting people off the streets. I do have one question for you, Sergeant, on the topics of this negotiation. Is there a secure place down by the docks?
How secure do you need it?
Well, I was hoping that we could move the negotiations to neutral ground, as it were.
Well, there's the shipwrights office. It'll probably have to do. But yeah, if you could help me and the boys get people off the streets and into their homes, be a real help. This keeps up, everyone's going to be snowed in for at least a day or two. Want to make sure there's nobody left stranded.
Yes, of course. With that, Ivran would, as he does go out to help people, he'll see if he can reach Yao with their bond. Would he be able to contact him?
Where did you leave Yao?
Yao is with the rest of the mercenaries, and because we were picked up by harpies and flew off, and Yao can't fly.
No, Yao is unfortunately outside of your telepathy range at the moment.
Okay. Then I think Ivran would just go about helping get civilians to where they need to go, back to the barracks, and trying to make his way, I guess, to the inn, to see if he could help there as well.
Okay. I will also say, Geharis, would you mind making me 4 Constitution saving throws? Give me the results of each.
Why, certainly! Also, if any of my allies are making Constitution saving throws, they also have a +5 bonus to their save.
Noted.
I would be standing near the royal family in Griaz.
Yeah, +5 you said? Okay.
Alright, first 2 rolls are a 24 and a 19.
Okay.
The other 2, man, it's no fun when you have a +9 rolls for saves. Next roll is a 18, and the last one is a nat 1 for a 10.
Okay. And Geharis, are you wearing the winter clothes that you purchased?
If I'm wearing the plate armor, I don't think I can wear both.
Okay.
I don't think you can winterize plate gear, but if you could...
I mean, you can by wearing wool underneath your plate gear. So if you wore woolen underthings, you would probably be much warmer than
I mean,
if you were
that's
wearing
fair.
not
I
woolen
was wearing
underthings.
the winter gear before we came here.
You were
But-
just
but
trying
yeah,
to look cool on the bridge. Remember?
It's true. Yeah, I will take whatever you throw at me.
Okay, well, yeah, just because anyways, so yeah, if you're not prepared for snow, then you take 9 cold damage and you now have a point of exhaustion. And you said all of your allies get a +5 to the con save?
Yes, they get a +5.
Let
I
me
can
roll.
for Griaz if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for Griaz. I'll roll for the emphasis. Succeeds. Fails.
What's the DC?
12.
Okay, I'll tell you if he fails any of them. One failure from him.
Okay.
Do we count his fur as winterized gear, though?
I'm gonna say no. That. All right. Since it was also one failure from the royal family and one failure from the guards, I'll go ahead and just save time. Griaz also takes 9 points of cold damage and takes a point of exhaustion, as do the guards and the royal family.
Right.
Geharis, as you escort the royal family with the guard retinue down the mountain, even you are struggling a bit. Your plate armor, you imagine if you were to touch your armor right now with your bare hands, it would probably just stick as your armor is freezing cold, and you find even yourself like shivering and kind of having to fight to keep going as like the very early stages of damage to your skin and frostbite starts to emerge, and you find yourself just getting tired, and you want so badly to just slump over and sleep, but you know if you do that, you're not waking up. And you can see the royal family is like starting to stumble a little bit, and the ladies are like wrapping their cloaks and garments tighter around themselves. Gwen actually taking the cloak of the Thieves Guild she was wearing off and giving it to her sister. And the Duke and Duchess just kind of huddling together as the guards maintain their discipline, but you can see even the guards, their teeth are chattering and they're like struggling to keep trudging through the snow. Avron?
Does Griaz have any spells that would help?
Let me check.
I think they have Flaming Orb prepared. I'm just saying.
He does have Produce Flame, which would be safer. Yeah, it's a cantrip. Griaz will cast Produce Flame and use that to provide some at least basic warmth. He has to kind of concentrate to maintain it against the blizzard winds, but as at this point you guys are going directly into the wind, so it's actively pushing against you. You're going literally straight in the direction the wind is going, or rather going against. So it's like right in your face. And Garrus, if your faceplate wasn't down, you imagine you would be struggling to even keep your eyes open to see what little you can. And you can see snow is like clinging to Griaz's fur, and he's starting to look like a polar bugbear. And as he casts his flame and kind of warms his bugbear hands over the flame, he kind of looks to you, kind of shivering a little bit, and just pretty cold.
That is very correct. It is very cold outside. I do not like this.
If only we had a weatherman.
If only.
Avron, you said you wanted to. Did you say you wanted to head straight to the inn, or do you want to help rally or gather civilians to safety first?
Everyone's going to help gather civilians, but I think in doing so, he's like making his way slowly to the inn.
Okay.
Like in that direction, I guess, is what it is.
Okay. You go ahead and make me 2 con saves. And are you wearing winter gear?
I'm wearing winter gear, and I also have Mistra's Ring of cold resistance. Or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the ring of warmth. Let me actually double check because that may just straight up
Agreeable.
immunize you. Let me double check.
Yeah, it gives me resistance to cold, but yeah, he's wearing his winter cloak and whatnot.
Yep, you and everything you wear are unharmed by temperatures. So yeah. Uh, although for fun, go ahead and make me the rolls just so I know how to flavor this, because depending on how you roll, it may be something cute.
Sure, you said it's con.
Yeah, con save.
All right, that is 19.
All right. What the winter gear that Israel helped equip you with, and the ring on your finger that when your thoughts stray to the mischievous gnome that gifted it to you, uh, your thoughts, your heart, and your body stay warm, and you manage to power through the cold almost effortlessly.
Uh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah, Ivron would definitely smirk at the thought of Mistra and being like, "Oh, thank you. Love does conquer all. His naivete can continue."
with the gifts that your girlfriend and allies gave you, you are able to help the guards get civilians off the street before you arrive at the Dwarven Inn, and kind of you have to kind of shoulder check the door a little bit to get it open against the snow, but Israel, out in the frontmost area of the inn, see the doors are occasionally being opened by guards just dropping more people off, and again the innkeeper rushes to help get them warmed and fed and all that. The doors kind of clocked open as Ivron kind of stumbles in briefly, seeming completely unbothered by the cold, even with snow like visibly in his hair and like all of him kind of ruffled. He looks fine overall, as the innkeeper rushes to shut the doors so that the snow and cold does not get in. Ivron, unless Israel you want to hide for any reason, you see Israel sitting in the area of the tavern, although you do not see Utaka anywhere.
Oh, glad to see you here.
Good to
Staying
see you
warm.
make it. How bad is it out there?
Ron brushes like 3 or 4 inches of snow off of his head. It's pretty bad. I'm starting to get the sense that this might not be a natural storm after all. But I am not doing it.
Well, it may have been influenced slightly by a bit of an altercation, but that's since passed, but I can't imagine that meddling did anything good to the storm. Utaka and our guests are in the back room where they're keeping most of the people trying to recover who were suffering a bit more from exposure. But come on, I'll take you to them. And she'd lead him back to the family room with where Utaka is presumably leading somewhere, as well as the dark elves.
Said it's been a few hours, right?
Yes.
So that's enough for me to do a short rest.
Okay.
Okay.
Easy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything notable you want to mention before Ivron enters?
How like comfy is it in here by the fire?
It's actually pretty comfy. Again, this seems to be like the family area where the dwarf and his wife and children live. So yeah, it's a little on the small side, but it's very cozy, very warm. It very much has that like by the hearth feeling to it.
Okay. I think he probably would have been having trouble staying awake.
Okay.
Kind of leaning there. It's been a long day.
Fair.
He's been a lot of magic. He's tired. So, I don't know.
Ivron,
Make it that way you will.
okay. Ivron, as Israel leads you around the bar of the inn into a back room, you find yourself in, again, a very cozy looking family room where the innkeeper's partner and children are rushing to and fro, tending to the injured and the needy. And most notably, You see Utaka kind of lightly napping against one of the walls, and two dark elves that appear injured, one much more severely than the other, donned in very elaborate circus garb. While their garments are unfamiliar, the dark elves, and the fact that you're looking for Children of Red Sight, you do recognize these as likely being the dancers affiliated with Arpeggio.
And you said that they're injured.
Yes, the one in the suit much more severely, although given that much like Utaka, they had time to at least get a short rest. Their injuries appear to not be actively bleeding any further, but you do see they are heavily bandaged up and injured. And whenever you enter, are you wearing your Goldshine badge?
Yeah.
You can see
they came here saying that they were Goldshine.
you can see both of their eyes kind of flick to your badge, and they both kind of curl into each other a bit. The one in the revealing dress kind of hugging behind her sister's back as her sister kind of leans protectively against her, seeming like, again, not quite like fight or flight, but more like seeming like they're expecting the worst.
Oh yeah, I get it. Seeing Utaka kind of doze off, I think Ivran will give him work, but also give him his space. As he's proud of Utaka for accomplishing this task, and no one died. So I think he'll move slowly and cautiously over to the Dark Elves and just beckon to them and say, do you need aid?
I think the worst of it is that your friend and the dwarves got us patched up. We'll be all right.
And
It's very kind.
we do mean patched up. We haven't had a chance to use any magic. I think Utaka wore himself out. She sort of nods to where he's snapping.
I can see that. Well, I do have the hands of a healer. If you would like, I can set any wound back.
Well, we wouldn't turn it down, but you might need it more.
Nonsense. And Evron's hands would begin to glow as he would, utilize the magics that he has.
All right, and how much are you willing to pump into them?
In the usual Ivron way, starting with lay on hands, he'll pump all 40 HP if it's needed.
Yeah, which because Utaka didn't heal them for too much, so yeah, they need it. You touch them with glowing paladin hands as the one in the suits, not bleeding anymore, but bloody injuries begin to sew together and patch up. And she kind of looks down in surprise and back up to you, still seeming a little suspicious, but definitely letting their guard down ever so slightly. And as her eyes flick to your badge, are you here to take us in?
Well, my job is to detain you, but you do seem to be detained. In fact, we all are due to this weather. What's your name?
They both seem kind of surprised as neither Israel nor Utaka actually asked them that. But after a moment, the one in the dress kind of slowly holds out a hand and seems a little nervous, but does give a smile. Maud Sight, and this is my sister Dame.
A pleasure to meet you. I am Ivran. I believe you've met Utaka and Israel.
Yeah, we've met.
I hope we're not too unkind to you.
We were trying to leave the city. Your friend attacked us.
Oh, did he? Well,
Israel just sort of looks at them because I think she was there for that conversation.
Yeah, she was.
Correction, as I heard it, you attacked first. And Utaka showed immeasurable restraint, not frying you with all the lightning he was generating. So, I don't know. I feel like there's some blame to be
Nevertheless.
placed on both sides here.
Nevertheless, everyone's alive, everyone's okay, and we're all here together, which was the objective.
Your
Uh,
your friends offered us a plea deal. They said that if we stayed in town, waited for our boss to come find us so that you could capture them, that we would be released. Is that true?
I don't see why not. And he'd just give like this queer look to Israel. But perhaps I'll talk to them about that information. If there's nothing you need of me, I will leave you to rest.
There is one thing. We were told that you guys, and you see her kind of nod to the badge, just kill everyone who you don't have something useful to get out of them.
I
Just
know not of any that are. Who told you these things?
Mr. Caldwell.
Israel does like let out a scoff at that. He spoke what?
I know not. No, not the word of Mr. Caldwell. Is he an honorable man?
We spoke to him. In fact, I don't think we spoke
Alice?
more than like 10 words to him. And he also insinuated that we should also kill Arpeggio and that he wouldn't be sad about it.
I actually don't think Ivran was there for that. Ivran was always on the move.
That's true.
that
And Vron was like going everywhere. So Israel fills him in on like, yeah, we were in the bar and we like talked to him and Arpeggio was being weird and awful. And Kenny was less weird and awful, but also like clearly not someone to talk about this. And also hadn't known any of them for any length of time. Other than their
As you're filling in,
interest in
Avron,
Arpeggio. And how
as you're filling in,
both thought he
Avron,
was an asshole. Like
Maud kind of raises a hand shyly, and, well, not you guys specifically, just the badge, Goldshine.
I don't know about speaking for any of the other field teams, but our standing orders are to bring in people alive.
And you can see they kind of glance to Utaka napping in the corner. You have a fantastic track record of that.
To be fair, we actually brought in, and she starts counting.
Only one dead.
Four people alive prior to just killing Arpeggio because he was a little too dangerous.
Is
and
it true
we
you cut out Mr. Tenniel's tongue?
He grew it back. And we also helped him with that. In fact, a lot of things. Anyway, he made a full recovery. We helped him with his powers. He decided to change sides all on his own. Yeah, but he was treated fairly and kindly the rest of the time. Purely the tongue thing was so that, you know, we could actually converse in a reality all of us could understand. You know.
I understand. And you can see their attention turns back to you, Ivron. So you're not going to kill us?
Not at all. I do not appreciate killing needlessly. And as far as I can see, you have done us no wrong. Simply tools for our opponents to use.
We only did what we did because we were paid. We don't have any interest in the war, in the cult. We don't even want any powers. They paid us to follow Arpeggio's orders. When he had his face off with you, we got orders from the boss directly.
This boss you keep speaking of, does he have a name?
He never gave us one, or he used a different one every time. Illusion magic. Never took the same appearance twice. We only knew it was the same guy because we're dark elves. We understand these things. All we know for sure is that it's a man.
And they know that he appears every time they complete whatever it is they're supposed to complete within the city. They told us so far that their initial job here was to recruit for the cult, naming Sergeant Pierce, as well as the two princesses as potential recruitees. We
Boss
were
said that
figuring we could talk to either of them with these two in attendance so that they could potentially reveal to their boss without lying that they did try to speak to the two. And hopefully we'd be able to catch their boss while they were trying to talk to these two.
And how do you feel about that? And he looks at Maud and Dame.
as long as my sister and I are safe, whatever you decide to do with the boss or the other cultists is, or even the other mercenaries, isn't of any concern to us. I'm just not sure if you can bring the boss in if he decides to turn up. I've never seen him in action, but he strikes me as someone not to be trifled with. Honestly, I doubt he'll even show, but if he does, it's probably going to be a bloodbath.
This illusionist, your boss, do you happen to know anything about his combat style? How he hurts others?
Yes, I don't know what it's called exactly. I'm not much of a fighter. One of those, it's like a spear, but it has a blade on both sides. He has a special one.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes, it's a special weapon. Again, I don't know the name of what it would be called, but it's like a spear, but it has a blade on both ends. Carries it with him everywhere he goes. That's the only reason we can identify him when he comes to find us.
You don't know if this weapon does anything in particular unique?
Not that we know of. Although, anytime he used it on a subordinate who failed, he would always say he was feeding it. Although,
I appreciate the
he could just be crazy.
Eating? Is there food?
Oh, yeah. Give me a second. And like Israel goes like to everyone, like, you guys are good, right? She's like, I'm gonna.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
Hey.
everyone's here.
Welcome back.
And as she like pats Talk on the shoulder, she passes by to go get food.
If
I hear
there's...
you did a pretty bang up job. You talking?
Oh, yeah, I fried the fuck out of them. Oh, you're still here.
Fantastic.
Like, looks at the two.
Fantastic God.
What? She was here. She was here. It's fine.
Ibron turns back to Maud.
And I told
he
Garnet
just-
to like pinch me if they ran, so we're good.
And Ivron, you turn back to them?
Yeah, Ibron just turns back to Maud and Dame and says, this deal that you've struck with Utaka and Israel to be released upon this plan enacting, if it does work out, I am on a bound to uphold.
They said that
know
if
that
he doesn't turn up, that we could still leave. That you just wouldn't help us if he found us.
Well, it's hard to help you if we're not there. But I think that guy's gonna want something more immediate. If he wants people recruited, there's kind of a thing going on. So it feels like he's got more vested interest, you know?
This could be.
Israel would reappear with probably something like bread, jam, some toast, who knows?
Yeah, they're pumping out a lot of warm stuff.
Exactly, some warm thing. It's like, here you go.
Utaka will combine warm things into warm things smush and smush into mouth.
Exactly. In very typical, like, tired but hungry person fashion.
Utaka hungry.
Would you consider, perhaps, it may be safer to stay with the GSIA?
Never thought I'd say that out loud, but maybe.
Is
But
simply a thought that comes from the wisdom in my heart. It is not me pressing you.
This guy, like, literally can't lie. I just want you to know that. I've known him for, like a year, over a year. He's never lied once in his entire goddamn life. So
it's
if he
not.
tells you he ain't gonna fucking, none of us are gonna hurt you, you can best believe he'll make sure it happens.
Oh, it's not a matter of wondering if he's lying. We're pretty good at knowing when people are lying to us. I just wonder if you're actually capable of keeping us safe. That's all.
What, you
It
don't
Seems to have
think
worked
I'm
out well enough for
capable?
Taniel.
I'll give you that. But
That's true. And Regina and the Hermit. And yeah,
that is true.
we have a
I'll-
decent track
Samuel
record.
Senior's back in a cage too.
At this, you see the two of them actually kind of tilt their heads a little bit and just, really?
Yeah, I melted his face off and then put it back together.
They both kind of seem a little off put, but kind of shake their heads. And, well, if the boss is letting those two walk away with everything they know, then yeah, all right. Maybe you can keep us safe. Is there anything else we can tell you? Again, we may not be high up in the organization, but you overhear things when you're working for them.
What do you know
Any
about Kenny
information is good.
Caldwell?
Yes.
We didn't get too much opportunity to interact with him one-on-one or two-on-one. Always was a bit private, but by the time we ever met him, he already had his abilities, him and his sister both. Well, after what happened to her, he got real sour about the GSIA.
What happened to her?
Yeah, we didn't even know he had a sister.
Yeah, him and his sister joined together, and your guys gunned her down.
Guess that was before us.
Yeah.
Or just a different field team. There were a few of them in Veilbright, remember? Could have been any of them.
No, this was a long time ago. But he's a nice enough guy, but okay, there's no way to say this without making a pun out of it, but his heart's got cold ever since what happened to her.
Understandable. Loss of a sibling is not easy.
We never really met her either, but we shared some drinks with some of the raiders that work for him, and they say he's a nice enough guy to work for. Make sure they're paid, make sure they're taken care of, doesn't throw them into the frying pan without a way to get them out.
How high up is he?
Seems pretty high up. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say he's like a 4.
What do you know about the gambler?
Mr. Mariner?
Yeah, anything you know about him.
We didn't get much chance to meet him, but we do know the guys who work for him. He hired some pirates to, be for him what we were for Mr. Arpeggio. And he's one of the highest up ones. I think he's the only one who actually knows who our boss actually is. Well, him and Villanova, but...
And she doesn't speak in anything but riddles.
Yeah. Way I heard it, Mariner had a bone to pick, and that's why he joined. And last I heard, that debt was settled. I don't know what he's still doing here. As far as I can tell, his business with us is done.
And what do you know about the dragon?
Dragon?
You ain't heard.
You mean the blimp we made?
No. I mean the dragon that used to run y'all.
The two of them kind of look to each other and back to you, seeming genuinely confused.
You ain't never heard about that.
They probably don't spread it around.
What are you talking about?
Supposedly, mind you, the cult of Red Sight was headed by an incredibly powerful dragon that could generate magic in and of itself.
You mean
And
the
that's why
priest? Or
Hmm?
that's
Yeah.
what you guys call it anyway, I heard.
Yeah. Villanova, I think, likes to reference it every once in a while.
It's a dragon with a couple heads.
They both nod, seeming more understanding of what you're actually referring to now.
What do you
Yes.
call them?
They kind of look to each other and back to you. Mr. Mariner always called it judgment. So the boss started calling it that too. So all of us started calling it that.
All right. One more thing. What do you know about the wheel?
Villanova never shuts up about it.
Yeah.
We noticed.
Well, how much time do you got?
Think we got at least 5 more hours.
Yeah, we're not going to be getting out of here until well into next morning, and there's going to be at least 2 feet of snow to get through.
How long
I
have you?
unfortunately have to part. But I will leave you to the capable hands of my comrades, if you can bear them for a few more hours at least.
You got nowhere else to go. Good luck, Captain.
Good luck,
Everyone
Captain.
would give them a nod and a bow and make his way back out into the storm, trying to find Harris.
Oh, exactly. She's like, where are you going? What are you doing? And okay.
As he leaves to go find Gaharis, the Dark Elves turn back to the two of you. How long have you lived here in Mazai?
Like a year and a half. I don't know. How long has it
Something
been?
like that. God, landing in, what was it, Othwart? Forever ago.
Well, the Emelian Empire and all their business, it started with 4 families. Well, 5 technically. And those 5 families created the empires we know now. And the wheel is what's left of them. Do you know how gods are made?
Do I know
General.
how gods are made?
Give me a religion check.
Okay.
Yeah, they both went to that all religions temple for a while reading up about divinities.
What does a 16 get me?
The process of creating a god is a very tricky one. This actually has been mentioned in this campaign before, so you're basically just recalling something you already know.
I got 22, so.
So I'll specify anything Israel gets specifically. But both of you know that to create a god, a mortal or creature or even concept needs to be worshipped so devoutly and on such a large scale that, in essence, their perceptions of that divinity become reality. The collective will of the worshippers make the divinity. Supposedly, this is how even the gods we know stay in power. As long as they continue to be worshipped, their power will continue to grow, which is why a god cannot simply come to be and then go off and do their own thing. A god needs worshippers to survive. Otherwise, they will lose their divinity, if not die outright, depending on the nature of that divinity. So the process of creating a god would entail gathering so many worshippers that their belief of that person's divinity became reality.
Know a bit about that.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if you already know the story, but whenever the noble families first came to Mazai from overseas, they all wanted to do that, make themselves that way. So they convinced all of the settlers and colonizers to worship them, cleared out anybody who didn't, and depending on which version of the story you hear, it worked. And that's what the wheel is.
Them individually or them together?
Depends on who you ask. We've never met them, but Villanova always talked about the King of Hearts. That's always what they called it. So if it's one specifically, it's probably him, but it could be all of them. I don't know.
Typical. But helpful nonetheless. You're damn sight clearer than she ever managed to be.
She sees so far into the future that they can't see anything else. It's always just visions of what's coming next, never what's happening right now. But to their credit, if it wasn't for them, we would be a far sight worse off than we are. It's easy to strategize whenever you know exactly what's going to happen.
She's also not dead, which is also fairly surprising considering how very, very easy she was trying to make it.
That is odd. Yeah, even if Caldwell's wrong and you guys aren't just a bunch of psychos, Villanova knows everything about us.
It was hard to keep her alive. She made it so fucking hard.
So hard. Oh my god. Anyway. But she's alive and safely ensconced, presumably.
One more person I got questions about, though. What have you heard about Mistra?
The detective?
Yeah.
We don't.
She feels like your people.
If she's with us, we've never met her.
You ever heard about her talking to anyone?
No? But if it helps, all of you that are relevant to us got a name in Villanova's visions. Always the same one. Detective Mistra, Villanova always referred to her as Death.
What about Dr. Tails?
Who?
Sorry, am I messing up his name? What was his
No,
name?
no, that you got it right. They just
Okay,
don't
okay.
seem to know.
All right. He doesn't seem like he feels like elaborating.
No, like they just like yeah.
No,
yeah,
I mean
they,
like he
yeah,
doesn't
sorry.
feel like he needs
took
to.
me a second.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we can tell you?
You heard anything about them wanting to recruit us?
No. Well, it's complicated. Again, Villanova talks nonsense all the time, but before we got our orders that we were to be on the lookout for you, we actually thought you guys were already with us. The way Villanova talked, it seemed like you guys were helping us, that we were on the same side. Until we found out what happened to Mr. Tenniel, we assumed you were here to help.
Prophecies always sound like that until they start getting fulfilled.
Yeah, tell me about it. There's two things I've learned from this. No more cults and no more futures. No more future sight. None of that.
Fortune telling's only fun when you get it at the fair and they start telling you about your love life or something.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is Gaharis?
Presumably where he was going to go. That's what
Speaking of,
everyone went to go find.
Harris. As
Wait,
you're
this is Chili here. I did not see this coming.
as you're trudging your way through the snow, and Ivron, you go out to find them. Ivron, go ahead and make me I'm going to call this an investigation check at disadvantage.
At disadvantage is a 17.
Okay. Ivron, you of course know where your brother went, where he most likely was when the storm hit. So you start making your way to the north side of town. And Gaharis, as you're reaching the end of the path out of the fleeting forest and starting to trudge your way with the royal family and the guards back to Jor proper, or rather deeper into it, you can just make out, and Ivron, you can make Gaharis out in turn, the silhouette of your brother having a bit of an easier time as he's going with the wind rather than against it, making their way up the path to meet you halfway. Ivron, you see your brother and Griaz and the royal family and their guard retinue covered in snow, freezing cold, and even more battered than you, because not only do they not have the benefits of your warmth and magical ring, they also were going against the wind the whole time.
I think Ivron will take off at least his winterized cloak and give it to maybe the Duchess or someone who looks like they are freezing.
Yeah, the Duchess looks the worst off, so
yeah.
All right, throwing your cloak around the Duchess. The royal family kind of look to you, to each other, and then to Gaharis, and the Duke pipes up. Is this one with you?
It's an honor to meet you.
Yes, this is, Gaharis?
Yes. Yes, I am Gaharis. It's an honor to meet you. And he just gives this side eye to Gaharis, like, I don't know what you've done, man, but you're sent to knock on the door. But okay, I'll go along with this.
Gaharis gives a shrug that is like, they wouldn't have come otherwise. Like...
we have to get you out of the storm. How far do you think you can make it? And how far would the inn be?
The inn from where...
Outside.
Yeah, the inn from where you are, again, going against the wind, you were able to make it pretty fast because, again, you have, like, both physical and magical protection. But if you hurry everyone along, you could probably make it back to the inn in about maybe 45 minutes, maybe even 30 if you just sprint. But if everyone keeps going at the pace they're going, it's probably going to take about an hour.
Can Ivron reach Yao yet?
Yes, at this range you can.
Reaching out to Yao, he's going to beckon him to them and maybe ask him if Naden's there to maybe herd him this way, corral him to us.
Garrus, you left Naden with Yao? Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Okay.
I will pull out my winter clothing and put it on the second worst person, I guess. While I have it.
Second worst.
Second worst. The Duchess gets nothing. She already got a cloak.
Because Gwen gave her jacket to her sister.
I'll give it to Gwen.
You can give it to her. All right. Okay. As the two of you get everyone warmed up, Naden and Yao managing to cleave their way through the snow much easier than those of you on foot. The royal family kind of step back in startlement, with the exception of the ladies. The elder looking kind of more intrigued by the two animals, and Gwen, as they adjust your winter jacket on themselves, which is far too large for them, Garrus, immediately trot up to Yao and excitedly start like cooing over them. Yao, for his part, soaks up the attention.
Ivron would definitely help her get onto Yao and any others that might approach to get on him.
Yao could carry up to two of them, so I'll say Gwen and her sister. Harris, do you want to put anyone on Naden?
Naden can handle the Duke and Duchess.
Okay.
Griaz probably also has a shape of wild shape if he wanted to take.
Let me double check.
Two people, because I think he only used one, and that
no, he used up both.
Oh. Then never mind. We walking.
All right. Yao and Naden look to the two of you as the royal mounts board them, and Naden kind of bows their head to you, Garrus. Orders.
If you could bring them to the tavern, I am sure that Yao knows the way.
Naden kind of looks down to Yao, who kind of ruffles their head and kind of shaking some of the snow out of their mane, immediately takes off down the path, and Naden quickly goes into hot pursuit, leaving the two of you with Griaz and the guard retinue to trudge your way back on foot.
Wonderful night for a walk.
All right. But you have to tell me, why am I Geharris again?
Because they seem to have heard of Ivron, and it seemed like the better choice.
Is this like the time you tried to get Cook's apples?
No, this is absolutely not. Entirely different. It is more like the times that I, signed you up for archery. The competition with all the nobles around the area. It is more like that.
My bow snapped and I was humiliated in front of all of our, father's friends. Thank you for that.
Nonsense, I thought you did wonderfully. I mean, 4th place is still a place.
Do you think you could double time, brother, or shall I carry you?
I can double time. I am feeling a little bit weary, but, get the blood pumping, I suppose. So I will just start sprinting.
Okay.
If Ron was gonna give him aid,
Guess you have to catch up.
So as he's gone, Ivron will be like, okay, I cast aid on Griaz and the guards, and then he'll sprint towards Geharris and hitting him upside the back of the head. He'll cast his third aid, and and say, "I'll race you there." Thus giving them some HP and some toughness and resolve.
Okay.
Okay, what do we have to roll for this race? How are we doing this?
Well, hold on. So for age, okay. Griaz fails their con save for just the blizzard. But Aid will do them a favor here. Let me. Harris, go ahead and roll me, and Ivron, you as well. Go ahead and roll me additional con saves, just one this time.
That is a 27.
Oh, math. 23.
Okay. You both succeed. Griaz fails. Griaz takes 8 cold damage and another point of exhaustion.
With the plus 10?
Well,
because he gets a plus. Ivron, do you give a plus to con as well?
we give it to every save.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just,
so if they're with us, then I give a +5.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they'd have a plus 10 to the roll.
Okay, and that gives them over it. Okay.
I didn't even add yours. It would have been a 32. I'm so sorry.
I didn't even.
Because I added Harris's. I forgot. I thought for some reason that Ivron's was like wisdom and charisma and intelligence.
I know. I always forget that Ivron is a paladin, not a wizard.
Yeah.
Wizard Ivron.
Wizard Ivron.
Okay, because I always think, paladins, they have like really good wisdom and charisma typically. So I was like, yeah, he helps with wisdom and charisma, while Harris helps with like the physical stats.
Those are his like key ones, but for his aura, he gives.
That was my bad. So yeah, Griaz, he still has the initial exhaustion and damage, but he's all right beyond that. All right. Ivron and Gaharis, both go ahead and roll me athletics. Gaharis, remind me, you don't have cold resistance from your tiefling blood, right?
No.
Because I think I made
fire
that
resistance.
Fire, right? So this is.
He's got the armor of like Agathis would give him, I think.
Nope, it just gives temp HP.
Oh, it's temp HP.
Rolling at disadvantage.
Yeah,
he has
so
an exhaustion level.
I know. You can't give me double disadvantage, Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna say you would have disadvantage even if you weren't exhausted because. So instead, I'll do it this way.
I got an 11 and a 12.
So you guys are going to be rolling athletics. Gaharis, you have disadvantage from your exhaustion, and Ivron, because of your winter clothes and your ring of warmth, you have advantage. Because the snow is not slowing you down,
fair.
while it's very much slowing down Gaharis.
Yeah. That's a 19 total for me.
Okay.
I'll use my athletics. I don't think I've ever used it.
I think we used it once when we were doing arm wrestling.
Yeah, you used it for the duel, I remember.
It's been a while.
That's a 21 for me.
All right.
With advantage.
And for fun, I'll see how Griaz does. Oh, Jesus.
Griaz with a 3. We just leave Griaz outside.
That is a 7 from Griaz. I rolled a 5 and a 2. All right. As the two of you start getting competitive and immediately dart off, Griaz, kind of with snow still clinging to his fur and weighing him down, and looking at the guards who are just trudging, that's all right, guys, I'll catch up. The two of you bolt through the snow. Ivron, your winter clothes and winter ring guiding you, and Gaharis, just the pure competitive drive to not let your brother win.
In plate mail, nonetheless.
Yeah,
in plate mail.
It's gotta be really intimidating for anyone that's in the street that just sees this black plated individual.
The sound it would make! The two of you immediately dart into the outskirts of the city, into the depths of it, passing over bridges, through streets, before Ivron, only being ahead of Gaharis by a single block, you get to the inn first.
Oh, brother. You've done very well.
Well, it's because I will give this win to you. Giving,
Oh, will you? Will you give it to me?
yeah, I suppose
I
you
beat
win
you
this time.
fair and square.
Yes. Is that chainmail you're wearing?
Indeed, it is, as well as some of my winter gear. Oh, and let's not forget my ring.
Oh yeah. So let's not forget that, shall we? Let's not
Yes,
forget
yes.
the fact that I have been freezing my horns off, and you
Well,
have been having had the time of your life. If I was any other species or race, I would be blue.
see what you did there. Oh, that was quite humorous, brother. But as you can see, plate mail does not have all the advantages, nor does being a tiefling. Wouldn't you say, Griaz? And this time, I think at this
Yes,
point,
like
Ivron would
7
turn around and
blocks
say,
down.
Yeah.
Griaz,
I was gonna say at this point, Griaz's like kind of trudging through the snow. Just you guys are fast. That's not fair. Oh, can we go inside?
by all means, and Ivron will hold open the door for everyone.
I do think it would be smart to keep at least one of the family separated from the others.
But what do you mean?
Well, if anyone tries to kill them, it doesn't make sense to have them all in one spot.
This is fair, but very well, brother. I'll follow your lead. Which one would you have separated?
Well, I don't really have a preference. I don't really care. I suppose we can leave that up to them. But let's not forget that there are enemies in the city.
Whatever you say, Ivron.
Oh, thank you, Gaharis. I'm so glad you see it that way.
Well, yes, of course. I have to see it that way. I am Gehelis. Let's go.
Can Israel be like walking in when this happens?
Yes, absolutely.
What?
Hello there, Israel.
Goodness gracious, you look like you're all half frozen. Come in and shut the door behind you.
But the weather outside is so delightful.
I think the word you're looking for is frightful. Come on, come in. And she's gonna like put her hands against his face, like trying to feel how cold he is.
He just has
Can't
a
tell
plate
how blue he
helmet.
is, he's
That's
blue.
just
As Garrus, Ivron, and Griaz enter the guard retinue not far behind, you can see that, true to their word, while you don't know where Naden and Yao are, at least not immediately, the royal family is present already with blankets around their shoulders and cups of warm water in their hands that they're kind of delicately drinking from as they look up as you all enter. And as the two of you enter, and the dwarf kind of anxiously shuts the door behind you, you've all been up pretty much all night at this point, with the exception of Butaka getting their nap in. So everyone, unfortunately, takes additional point of exhaustion. Again, you've pretty much been up all night. However, Utaka, given that you got a short rest, you don't have to. You got a nap. You're fine.
I slept for like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
Good.
But the rest of you have been up pretty much all night running around in the snow or just taking care of business in the inn. So those of you who didn't get a short rest, take an additional point of exhaustion. But as all of you make yourself as comfortable as you can in the inn, it's getting a little crowded at this point, but not really much alternative. The blizzard outside shows no signs of slowing down. And Gaharis, you can see the royal family tending to each other and themselves. Ivron, if you check in the back, Utaka and the Dark Elves appear pretty much the same as when you left them, thankfully. As Israel tends to Gaharis, and Griaz just
Probably
kind of...
all of them. She's reminding them take off anything metal, get a blanket, start rubbing it over yourself, like warm up. She's frequently reminding Gaharis of this because she keeps reminding him, you're blue, so we don't know when you have frostbite, so that's going to be a problem if you want to, keep limbs. Especially one particular limb, like your tail.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll just have Griaz cast heat metal on my arm.
Yeah. Speaking of which, give me just a second.
Absolutely don't do that. She says to Griaz.
It's fine. Hold on a second. And Griaz just immediately starts shaking himself violently as snow just cascades from his fur, forming this like several inch high pile below him. And just much better.
Well, with that, I believe I will head up to my room for a few minutes.
Oh, we have rooms here?
Do we not?
Yeah, I thought they were all filled. I don't know. Never really
Oh,
asked.
we just fucking landed here today. Where have you been?
The dwarf innkeeper kind of passing between all of you again, helping you like get your freezing plate armor off and things of that nature. Kind of looks up to all of you, and I'm afraid all the rooms are booked solid, but my family room and this part of the inn are about to be converted to sleeping areas. If you can tolerate that.
That's perfectly fine.
I can help set up some of the things.
If you could, that'd be a real help.
Yeah, we got blankets and shit.
So yeah, Israel would
Start
help
pulling stuff
gather
out of my bag of holding.
Yeah, other people as well, like in the main room, getting them to like move tables around or turn tables into sleeping areas that you can put blankets on top of or below, etc., making sort of bunks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Israel, Utaka, and I presume Ivron, and Griaz using things like Produce Flame will probably assist as well. Start darting around, helping get families and civilians as settled in, as comfortable as they can be. As again, the inn is getting relatively crowded. However, no additional people seem to be coming in. Gaharis, what will you be doing while everyone's getting set up?
So after I get the heated water, I would definitely maybe, put my hands in there.
Yeah.
Put my tail.
Yeah. All right, so...
And then I think I would probably post up to take a nap, like with my back against a wall, but looking at the entrance.
Okay. All right. And with that, as all of you lay out blankets and warm water, help get everyone settled in, Gaharis changing out of your freezing plate metal and into warmer clothes, you post up to stand guard as the Dark Elf dancers, the Jor royal family, civilians, guards, innkeeper staff, and family, all are united just for this night in trying to stay alive against the cold onslaught that, as Ivron observed, may be somewhat unnaturally induced. And I think that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh, gosh.
To clarify, Israel will also, once she's done setting up everyone else, bring basically a whole heap of blankets over where Gaharis is. She's going to set up right beside him, except she's going to just sleep. She's going to pass out.
Okay. Easy enough to do. All right. Graham.
Yeah, hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's an absolute delight to see all of you in the chat and see your names watching. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. This is my channel where, here at Graham Crackers, we believe in making memories with friends. And, what better memories than those you make in TTRPGs, MMORPGs, and RPGs. Today I had the lovely gift of playing Gaharis Nervals, your tiefling, not teethling, Oath of Conquest, Paladin. And you know what? You can find me here every Monday, every Friday, and every Tuesday. Every Tuesday I DM 2 D&D 5e campaigns in the homebrew world of Anarin at 7:30 for Anarin's Rest and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard for Shards of Anarin. They are alternate weeks. Outside of that, every Monday we typically play like a game like Guild Wars 2 or a MMORPG or something to play with friends and the community. If you like what you saw here, you can find me on Twitter at GrahamCrackers1. And again, GrahamCrackers with a Z, 1. And I will pass it over to one of my best friends, the one, the only, Pharaoh.
Oh. 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 Um, hey guys, I am Pharaoh. I played Utaka today, but you can also catch me here every other Tuesday, except this coming Tuesday. Actually, maybe I'll be lurking. We'll see. Whereas I will be on a work trip. But you can usually catch me on Tuesdays, every other Tuesdays, as Sinira Sodermain, a Leonin, Warlock Paladin, and if you can't tell, I've got a multi-classing problem. Besides that, all my other projects are off stream, but perhaps you can find me in a D&D group near you. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Ferocious, and I will pass it off to the illustrious, the magical, the splendid, the silver-tongued Kari.
Wow. How can I measure up to all of that? But hello, everyone. It's me, Kari, the beloved, the one, the only. I was playing Israel today, the Fey Pact half-elf warlock. And you can find me here every Friday. And you can also find me here every other Tuesday for Shards of Minarian, where I play Karis, the tiefling wizard, who has a dissertation to write, just in case you've missed it. It's going to be very interesting. It might involve some curse breaking, some working with undeath and the essence thereof, some malevolence sprinkled in there for funsies, the good stuff. But catch her every other Tuesday at the Anarian's Rest campaign. Other than that, you can find me existing in the ether somewhere if you somehow get trapped in the, liminal space between all things. But other than that, you can find me in Guild Wars 2 on occasions, where I'm just playing, being cool, learning to raid, which is really fun. So if you have questions, if you want to check out Guild Wars 2, it's free to play. You should go play, and I'll be there. You can check me out. My player name's in the chat with the command. So yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I had the privilege of playing with these wonderful folks tonight, as I get the chance to do almost every Friday, as Ivron Blackmont, the Protector Asimar Oath of Devotion Paladin. I hope you all enjoyed what went on tonight. I know it seemed a bit chaotic, maybe, but coming back from holiday and a few missed weekends, I think we were just raring to go. But fortunately or unfortunately, this is the only time you can find me 8 p.m. Eastern every Friday. I have nothing else going on because I have no life. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And now I will pass it off to the wondrous Matt Anonymous, our GM.
Hi, I was Matt, your DM. I played everyone else. If you really liked my DMing and simply must see more of it, check out Odd Tornado Productions on Twitch, on YouTube, for the 2 other streamed games I'm running. On Mondays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time, I run the campaign Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globetrotting treasure hunters gathering the artifacts of the gods to get a treasure worth more than all of them. They're actually currently going through Israel and Utaka's birthplace to get a old water genasi pistol. Um, uh, um, And on Tuesdays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time, you can check out my other streamed game of Black Ink and Blue Blood, also taking place in the same setting, this time where Gaheris and Ivron are from. A politically themed campaign of a party of a bunch of nobles and squires and such, trying to unravel a political conspiracy if they can stop stabbing each other in the back long enough to actually do that. And if you want to see what I can do writing wise when I don't have to contend with ridiculous party members, check out my webcomic Undercommon on Webtoon and Tapas. Also taking place in the same setting, featuring one of the first goblins to ever become an adventurer. But I think that's about it from me. If there's anything I forgot, check out Alternator Productions Official on Tumblr, where I link to pretty much everything else. Got a little Goldshine Investigation shirt.
Yay!
And something else everyone should check out is a wonderful podcast called Monster Crush, found where podcasts can
Yes.
be found.
Yeah,
sorry,
if you
Fun
like
by our
crushing on
wonderful
monsters and
pets.
you want to know who is dateable, you can join Derek and his good co-host, Heavenly.
Heavenly.
Hey, I'm on it. I'm glad I remember that. Where they talk about monsters and are they smooch well. It's a absolutely enjoyable game. Outside of that, you can find them DMing on Eva Sarate's channel. They have a upcoming season 2 for a show in 2022 about boats, centaurs on boats, and pirates. I think I've accurately summarized that. Horses on boats on boats. But we will give you all over to whatever the rest of your weekend entails. But we are going to do some raiding because, we don't do that enough and we want to support them. So we're going to raid Roll for Damage, who are doing a charity drive and playing D&D. So I hope that you will join us and spam some Graham love and, just let them know that, what, they're doing great and we should support that. So, until next time, I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.